2 time zones away from me.
I know. All right, we're live, so we'll do the clap. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Hunters Hub, the video game podcast born of the Monster Hunter community. And tonight we are reviewing our 2022 games 5 through 1, but we're catching up with Ace, who's doing all 10 of his. And yeah, it's going to be a fun episode tonight. So joining me tonight, Sasha, welcome back.
Thanks. How are you?
Good. Tooth pain is under management, hopefully being removed. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. After finishing God of War, I have found myself despite a large backlog, in a what do I play next paralysis. So I have not been playing a lot of things too much, but we'll see. But I do have something that might go on the list for next year already. So we'll see about that.
For now, if it makes the cut for the rest of the year.
Oh, I know. It was a competitive year this year. We'll see. We'll see about 2023 because I don't know, man. June comes around, I might be playing Diablo 4 for 6 months, and that's about it. Like,
you might, he says.
I might. Yeah. And Ace, welcome back. Glad to see you today.
Mm-hmm. It's good to be back. We'll see if I can make it all the way through.
Yeah. Well, hey, babies, they need things. It's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. And then Morg. How you doing, bud?
Oh, I am doing great. I'm actually currently playing probably my number 2 game right now for my list.
Yeah, you'll have to explain, because that just looks like a weird anime Mewtwo to me.
Yeah, I'm playing as the Frieza race in Dragon Ball Xenoverse. I've been collecting all the Dragon Balls. I managed to make, I think, about 3 or 4 wishes now. Yeah, I got 2 ultimate super attacks. I managed to unlock some more super attacks. I managed to reallocate my character's stat points, so in that way they're better distributed for the build that I'm going for, which is a Kaioken times 20 build.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's really, really fun, especially being able to go Kaioken and then just use Kid Boo's Scream to get ki back, and then I can use my ki attacks to grab a person and then go full and first androids 19 19 and 20, the one with the palm attack where they grapple a guy and then they suck their life force or whatever, so I can get more stamina, keep my Kaioken going for longer, and then just keep using the Boo Scream an infinite number of times, so then I can build more ki, and then do the grab to get more stamina, just punchy.
Yep.
Do tons of damage. It's great.
I was right on one part. Big anime energy there. That is, although I do like Dragon Ball. So we have a lot more to go through tonight because we've got all 4 of us, and then we got to catch up with Ace. So Ace, without further ado, we got to hit us up. So what we're going to do, just so listeners are aware, we're going to do Ace's 10 through 5, his honorable mention, and then we're all going to do dishonorable mentions, and then 5 through 1. So number 10, Ace.
That would be Borderlands. I've been playing the
We're talking about number 1
on Switch. Yep.
Okay.
I haven't finished it yet, but I've been having fun with it, doing the I don't know, I guess I would say almost dungeons.
Okay.
Going to each of the different quest locations and facing off against the bosses and fighting all the different skags and just mulching them repeatedly.
What class are you playing?
Yeah, that was going to be my question.
Sniper.
Oh, okay. Well, Mordecai? Yeah, Mordecai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always play Siren class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so does my brother.
OG Borderlands Siren is my favorite. The phase walk.
I kind of like the engineer just for being able to just throw down turrets everywhere and then just let the turrets do most of the work while I'm healing my teammates and stuff like that.
Yeah, for number 2. That was number 2, right?
I think so. Yeah, that was number 2. Yeah,
I played
almost,
so little of 2.
I almost feel bad every time I take out a tiny mutant, just because when they run out with shotguns and they knock themselves over by firing the gun, I'm just like, oh, you're trying your best, buddy, aren't you?
Have you played any of the DLC yet? For
I
Borderlands?
don't believe I have. No.
I wouldn't.
I
be able
really
to tell
like the
difference.
zombie one. I know,
Mhm.
Fortwan, you're not into the zombie stuff, but
Hey,
they do
if
like
it's
a nice Night of the Living Dead parody in
if it's done well, I
Borderlands.
normally can enjoy zombie stuff. But you know, like the game I just showed you guys for a little bit. Forgive me, Father. I really like how they do zombies. They have ones that carry other zombie heads, and if you headshot them, they pick up the head and put it on their head, and then it's like you got to headshot them twice to kill them. That's cool.
Oh my god.
So I love that. But zombies are yes a hot button issue for me, because to me they are the most boring like fantasy creature that exists. It's like my
Plants vs Zombies makes them good.
they're
And speaking of zombies done well, there may be some contention with the HBO Last of Us show.
Oh, yeah?
As It just recently came out that apparently they are not going to have spores in the show.
Oh, come on.
Instead, there's
no.
apparently going to be tendrils, which I don't get why tendrils would be more viable than freaking spores, which was like a
Probably
major part of it.
special effects more viable.
I
yeah,
mean,
but they've been boasting this
Particle-
massive budget. They've been
Particle
talking about
effects
how
are pretty advanced nowadays, and HBO has done pretty good with a lot of their special effects.
Yeah, I mean,
How
I,
hard is it to
can't-
make a fucking cloud? Come on. It's not that big of a budget.
the budget is supposed to be for the first season of Last of Us was supposed to be bigger than I think the first 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
mm,
Oh yeah, so then they should have absolutely been able to.
Yeah.
yeah, I-
HBO. It stands for huge bitch energy.
that's Honorgy.
Yeah. Come back to
That
us
was
on
a
that one.
joke, guys.
All right.
All right, and then number 9
Oh,
was
boy.
Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Been, replaying that, but on the Wii U, so it's definitely a little different playing that on a mainly home tablet,
Yeah.
and then switching back and forth between the TV and the screen.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I could ever replay Breath of the Wild. That felt like a one and done for me. Like I can't.
No.
Well, because you explore things, and once you know things, it's the magic is kind of lost for me. Like,
Nah. You just gotta relive the magic, but with a little bit more knowledge this time around.
maybe. I mean, I haven't tried, so maybe. All right. All
I'll
right.
tell you, ascending the central spire of Hyrule Castle is still just as awe-inspiring and crazy as
yeah.
it was the first time I did it.
Okay. All right. So,
The, Kokiri Forest is still annoying as shit with the mist, but whatever.
wouldn't be Kokiri Forest if it wasn't annoying as shit. So, so number 9 is keep wanting to say Hyrule Warriors, Breath of the Wild. Because
I mean, they
Age
did have
of Calamity was
Calamity.
because Age of Calamity was the Breath of the Wild Hyrule Warriors. All right. So yeah, I don't know, it's a good one. Surprised it came up, but I do remember you saying that. So anything else to say about it?
I mean, top tier game. Definitely
Yeah.
play it if you haven't already.
Yeah,
Sasha, you
For-
have a Switch.
for everyone except
I'm
Sasha.
So good on that.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah, I
trying.
know you're good.
we're
good to go. You got a Switch. You
No.
can play. it.
No,
We
on
got
the
it.
hard pass.
We gotta work on the Monster Hunter part. We're not there's no chink in the Zelda armor here. That ain't happening.
No.
Well,
This is
I was going
definitely
to say
not
earlier,
happening.
Sasha, you, me. I'll create another character for Game Pass. What is it, at the end of the month? Next month it comes out, I think?
The 20th on Xbox Game Pass, Rise and Sunbreak.
We'll see. Maybe. So the other part of it comes down to time.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Yeah. Same. Very
Okay.
much same here.
So what was that? Number 9.
Number 9.
So number 8.
Number 8. Emulating my Angry Joe there.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry 6 with Giancarlo Esposito.
That's the newest one, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's sort of like a New Age Cuban revolution,
Mhm.
South American revolution type thing.
Okay.
You play as Danny, either as guy or girl, but I have to agree that with the YouTuber that I watched, that it definitely feels like Danny is more meant to be a girl, and I played as a girl.
Okay.
Had a lot of fun with it, as I do with most Far Cry games, because it's goofy, over the top action. You even get you get animal companions. 2 of my favorite were the alligator. What was his name? Forgetting his name. I want to say it was Gazpacho, but I don't think it was. And then a fighting rooster was my other favorite one.
Yeah. With
It
the
was
spurs.
basically like it was basically a demon chicken, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'll take a demon chicken as a companion.
You know, speaking about alligators, the girls and I watched. I hadn't seen it. I don't know if you guys planned on watching it, but it's pretty good. Ripley might like it. As Lyle Lyle Crocodile. That was a good movie. It was a good kids movie. We saw it today.
I haven't heard of that. What's it on?
I had it on Vudu. I don't know if it's on any streaming service, but I would look out for it. It's about this very anthropomorphic alligator who was raised by a show singer, and he can only speak. The alligator can only speak through song, and I'm almost positive, not sure because I didn't look at the credits, but almost positive that that it is what. Oh gosh, he's the NSYNC guy. Justin Timberlake is the voice of Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
Oh man, yeah, my kid'll love that.
So it was pretty good.
She loves the Trolls,
Mm-hmm.
which also has Justin Timberlake in it.
Yep. He plays as his name is Branch, but as the girls call him Ranch, like ranch dressing, and I don't know why.
That's funny.
But yeah.
You said that, and then just because I constantly listen to a cult podcast, I was like, the Ranch Davidians.
No idea. No idea what that is. I do not listen to that podcast. I've been meaning to at some point.
No, that was my own joke that I just made up.
Oh.
It's a pun
Did you
play
write it
off the
yourself?
Branch Davidians.
Mm.
No, I just came up with it on my head. So
all
I can't
good.
give myself that much credit. It was just a product of my stupid brain. Just being like, hey, word associate now.
All right. So yeah, Far Cry 6. Sounds like good fun. That's great. With Lyle Lyle Crocodile as your friend.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, and
Kung Fu Chicken.
it probably makes me take longer in the game too, but I don't often like driving around in the vehicles and stuff, except for like the 4-wheelers a little bit. So I often just like run everywhere on the map, and it takes me forever.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a good exploration game, like I would say, Just Cause 3, that works. Like you're just like, I just want to zip line everywhere. Like, yay, let's do it. I'm gonna be South American Spider-Man in Just Cause 3.
Hmm.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
So
I've seen people do some crazy maneuvers with the friggin' zip wire thing on that.
oh yeah, no, simple one. Tie a jet that's flying by to a tank and just watch it take off and crash. Because it can pick up the tank, but not for long, and then it just crashes, and then they both die. It's hilarious.
I've seen one where a guy takes like a little hatchback car, gets onto the roof, attaches the wire to it, attaches the wire to the windmill, like one of the those tall white windmills,
Yeah,
and then just does that back and forth between the blades on like two of them, and I'm just like, how and why?
because it's fun. Everything in that game is just fun. I don't like number 4. Number 4 was not fun, but 3 and 2 were good.
Mhm.
So, but detracting again from Far Cry 6, I don't have any experience with the Far Cry series, so sounds like fun now.
And
Okay.
then number 7 was Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah,
Spent plenty of satisfying hours just deep cleaning
whooshing and
all sorts of
de-stressing.
environments that, yeah.
Mhm.
Plus, like, some of the places I got a comment like, how the fuck do you get that grimy? Like, golf carts and vehicles and stuff like that I can understand, but how does a like playground or like the shoe house, how does that stuff wind up looking like a giant literally squatted over them and just shat onto them?
Hurricanes is how that happens.
Kids are very
yeah,
artistic.
I
They
guess.
can do a lot of things.
Oh.
Literally, they will pull anything out of anything, and they will use it to their disposal.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they're very artistic, and are not
I mean-
ashamed of using anything.
There were definitely
And I
some
mean anything.
inter-
Fortuan knows exactly what I'm talking about. Kids will reach anywhere, and they will use whatever they can to make art.
All it takes is a little supervision to prevent something like that.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
or I don't know if you've seen recently, with all the snowstorms that have been going around. I think it was
Salt. All the
around
salt
Buffalo
on
area
everything.
in one of the shore communities. There was the shore facing fronts of the houses that were just like speckled in ice
Mm-hmm.
because the winds had like blown up water, so it literally looked like someone had like gingerbread house frosted those sides of the houses.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool. All the salt crystals too, I bet. Helping with that.
I'm not I think it might have been a Great Lake area, not
Oh, okay.
coastal.
Okay.
I think, because I want to say it was Buffalo
Oh, yeah, okay. Then, yeah, it
or
would be,
Buffalo area, Buffalo adjacent.
it would be no salt. Gotcha. Okay.
And then number 6 is Dead Cells. Started
Mm.
Ooh,
replaying that on
yeah.
Game Pass.
Now we're
And
talking.
I've been enjoying the added DLC stuff that they have to it.
I do like the
'cause I've been-
Castlevania thing they announced.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking into that when I have time, once that comes out. And I've already, with what they have out, I've set my character to look like Shovel Knight.
Okay. I owned the game. I played it for a good 6-7 hours, and I said, "All right, I'm done."
Yeah,
Wasn't my
I've
thing.
got it on all 3 platforms now,
Yeah, it just switched.
just
for me.
because I've got it twice on Switch, because I first got it electronically, and then I got the collector's edition with the
Limited run.
glorious. Yeah, I don't know if it's limited run. I'd have to check. because I got it through GameStop.
Mm.
But it's got the statue of the prisoner with the frying pan. So that's
Mm.
just a nice little addition to my collection.
Yeah. Frying pans. Who knew?
hmm And then my are we doing honorable mentions?
Yeah. We did
First
our
off, or
honorable mentions last week, so you're still catching up with honorable mention.
okay, and then my honorable mention is the new version of Oregon Trail,
Okay.
which I've been playing
Ooh.
on Switch.
Oh, by the way,
It is
when you talked about playing that a long time ago, I talked about The Warden, that was like an Oregon Trail movie. Game. It is, but it's a lot more complex, and I didn't like it.
yeah.
So, anyways, back to Oregon Trail.
Yeah, so I've been playing that on Switch and enjoying fighting against dysentery and typhoid and all that fun crap. Because I've been spacing out my playthroughs a bit.
Mhm.
I just today completed my first run through successfully with think half my party,
Okay.
because two members of my party just like got fed up and left. Actually, like at various points, like all four of them like left the group. So like at one point, my rifleman, he left, and then one of the girls left, and then the guy came back, then the other guy left, and then the other girl left, and then the other guy came back. So it was really weird. I was like, what is going on?
That
But
sounds
whatever.
overly complicated.
Well, because I had it set as what was truer to the original experience, and then right now I'm also doing a run that's like the nature run, so it's like just more relaxed and
Gotcha.
easygoing. Um, it is interesting too. They have a little uh, statement at the beginning of the game. They actually consulted with Native American / First Nations scholars
Mm-hmm.
when they were developing it and working on it. I forget exactly what it said, but it touched on how like the expansion wasn't, great for the Native Americans
Yeah.
or the westward traveling, and they do kind of touch on that because, or at least so far in my experience, because um, there was a commentary. I'm assuming I was in Utah at the time. I don't remember the exact location, but they talked about how they had set up the Salt Lake City, and at the area that I was fishing in, the Native Americans that were there that were teaching people to fish were commenting on how like more people are showing up every day, and if it keeps up, the fishing won't be able to sustain itself.
Mm-hmm.
So far lightly touched on, but I'm gonna be playing through it more and seeing what else there is to discover.
Okay.
Wait, is the game Oregon Trail causing overfishing?
It's not it's not causing
No,
overfishing. It's talking about westward expansion, and one of the impacts would have become overfishing of like Salt Lake.
Oh,
Salt Lake and other water bodies and stuff along the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have the hunting in the game, which is like the original, just with updated graphics, because they're almost like 2D 3D sprites. It's like a blend somewhere in between. So it's got like that same like radial style of hunting where you start in the middle of the screen and then animals run across and all over and stuff. and then you can either do the northwest, south, and east direction, and then the I forget what they're called, but the in between directions.
Hmm.
It's not fully circular, but
Cardinal directions, I think it is.
maybe. Well, I think the cardinal directions are just north, south, east, and west, and then
Hmm.
there's another one that's the in
Northeast.
between ones.
Northeast.
Northeast,
Yeah.
southeast, northwest, southwest,
Southwest. Easy there,
west.
Patrick.
West. Yeah. Okay. So Oregon Trail for the honorable mention. So we'll change it up for the dishonorable mentions. This is the first new one that we're going to talk about today for the other three of us. So Morrig, what's your dishonorable mention for the year?
Oh boy. I'm having a hard time deciding between these three games. But I think it's going to be Need for Speed Carbon that I played on GameCube. I
Okay.
hate that game. It's awful. The game is just unplayable. The controls are just almost completely unresponsive. The cars are constantly fishtailing left, right, and center. Like it almost feels like there's like an overcompensation with the steering, and it's always delayed. So like you're trying to adjust from like spinning out in one direction, and then all of a sudden the vehicle goes, "Ah," and then smashes into the other wall, smashes into the other, and I'm like,
No.
I hate this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's garbage.
That thing was
I don't know how my
90.
roommate plays it.
The thing was $90 back in the day. I remember looking at that in like a Sears and being like, Need for Speed Carbon, I'm not affording that ever. It was like, pick between that or Banjo Kazooie or something like that. And it was like, Banjo Kazooie.
Mhm.
At $90, that is $90 too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, they couldn't pay me to play the game. Oh my god. It's terrible. Trash. Ugh.
All right.
Get it out of my sight.
Another N64 throwback with Morg, because that's what you've been
it's
doing.
on GameCube.
Oh,
It's on GameCube,
Sorry.
yep.
I'm thinking of a different Need for Speed then if it was $90, because I was definitely thinking of an N64 game.
Okay, yeah, because I'm thinking that there were a couple of titles that went across a couple of different consoles. So yeah.
I could.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so Need for Speed Carbon. Sasha, what's your dishonorable mention?
Mine is a game called Divination. The reason that it is my dishonorable mention is because it is a good game. It's just I fully completed it in maybe 45 minutes, like 1,000 gamer score.
Oh,
You're
geez.
done. Never
Too
gonna
short.
play this game again.
Yeah.
Just way too short.
Gotcha.
It's a Game Pass game, so like on my end, it didn't cost me anything. Just downloaded it, played it, enjoyed it, and got rid of it. So in this game, you are like, I think you're a computer, like an AI supercomputer or something, but you're a fortune teller, and people come to you with, it's like a futuristic world.
Mhm.
Like I feel like they put some effort into building kind of an environment, and so it's really kind of a bummer that you get about an hour of gameplay and then it's done. And so what's the point of building this world and building lore for it to just be over? Like no DLC, nothing. So you meet, I think, 5 different customers who come in and they want their fortunes told, and they tell you their stories, and you have them pull runes. There's like a little puzzle mechanic for you to give them their fortunes, and if you do the puzzle correctly, you give them a certain fortune. If you don't do the puzzle correctly, you will also give them a fortune, but it's slightly different.
Okay.
And then as you get to the end of the game, if you gave everybody the correct fortunes, you get a chaos rating and a true or a not true ending. And yeah, like I said, took about 45 minutes to do the whole game. And
Jeez. Okay.
so
Damn.
it was unenjoyable 45 minutes. Would have loved to have more. Like, I've done tutorials that lasted longer than that. I think it took me longer to get through the Oblivion tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that is short. Okay. So
At least it wasn't a bad experience, because when I
Yeah.
played Need for Speed Carbon, it was the kind of game that I would wipe my butt with and flush it down the toilet. That's the kind of a game that it would be. If I could vomit on it, it would improve the game. Like, oh boy, when I think of dishonorable mention, I'm thinking of, like, give me a plate of shards of broken glass. I'll put that with salt and pepper, and I'll eat that shit right up rather than play this game. Oh boy.
So
Oh.
there's a little bit of a difference there, because some people have to really find a game that they like they, if it's bad, they will probably drop it pretty quick, and or have never picked it up to
yeah.
begin with. So that
Yes.
you and I are the kind of people who will delve into the bad game and suffer through it for a while at least. And then
Ooh, the very bowels of hell itself.
Right.
Oh,
Sasha is a
wallowing
much
in
much
the
less
reproductive organs of Satan himself.
Sasha has less time to figure out if a game's going to be good or not. So yeah.
yeah, I think if this was pre children, pre grad school, and I
Mhm.
forced myself to play through tons of games, achievement hunting, I'd have a totally different opinion.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I need to find myself a really bad game, like the absolute
I'm still-
shit among shits. If shit could
Well-
take a shit, that would be
Well,
the
more
worst
than-
game in
You
existence.
can join me in this
Can't wait
journey.
Mhm.
I'm planning on down the line eventually getting a Xbox and then getting Ride to Hell Retribution
Oh my
Don't-
God.
Why?
eventually.
What?
Do it. Yes. Suffer with me. Yes.
I don't-
Ugh.
I don't.
With their,
I don't
with
understand.
their bathroom audio, bathroom stall audio.
Yes. Ooh.
Okay,
Oh God.
so
I need to be cleansed.
my dishonorable mention comes from a lot of hype for myself on this game, met with utter meh, and that was Mario Strikers Battle League. I was
Oh.
such a huge fan of Mario Strikers on the GameCube. Like, soccer is legit my favorite sport. Like, I played soccer a lot as a kid. I still watch soccer occasionally as an adult. And Mario Soccer was like the coolest thing on the GameCube. And then it was not as cool on the Wii, but I had hopes, really high hopes for the Switch one that came out this year. And I don't think I played it more than 3 days, because I finished everything that I cared to finish, and that was it. Like, it was a good executed game. There's a lot of crazy mechanics in it. It doesn't go too far, I don't think. Like the Wii of it, the second game did. It went a little too far. You get like 6 goals with a super strike, but like, you at best get 2 with a super strike, and that actually has some defense to it, so you're not just automatically getting 2 points. It is like real soccer in the fact that it takes some skill, and it is not easy to score, even against the computer. But at the end of the day, it didn't really have much to grab me at all. It was just, I paid $60 for about like 4 hours of entertainment. It felt like
Oh my God. Only 4?
I don't know how long I played it, Morg. It could be more, it could be less. It was under 10 probably. I didn't really keep track, and Nintendo isn't really good at keeping track of your hours itself.
No.
So it just failed to to wow me. Like, it was just, I had a lot of hope and a lot of hype for the game, and it just didn't get there. It was just, if you've seen the Emoji Movie, I was meh. I was the meh he was meant to be. So we'll cycle back to Ace. Ace, what's your dishonorable mention for 2022?
Since you well know that I usually do not get games without having usually done a little bit of
Vetted them
research
to a degree, yes.
on it, but every now and then, especially with the Switch store, the
Yeah.
eShop, just because they have random
Sales.
games on there and discounts,
Yeah.
and every now and then I'm just like, this is like $2. I'm sure it's not like groundbreaking, but I'll just give it a try. I took a chance with one of those games called Midnight Sun, I believe, and you remember me talking about this. It was a jet fighter game
Mm-hmm.
where you are fighting against both air units, other jets, and ground units with like tanks and stuff like that. I don't know that they're tanks. I think they're just AA guns. I believe this may be a mobile game that was just ported onto
Ported.
Switch.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked into it just based on how it operates. I think that's what it is. And there's like the progression of like upgrading your jets and stuff and unlocking
Mm-hmm.
other ones once you build up enough funds. The one aspect of it that makes it a dishonorable mention for me is the fact that you, through the settings, cannot invert the controls.
Yeah.
So you cannot push down on the joystick to go up.
No, it is
You
down to
cannot
go down,
push
up to
up
go
on
up.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, and that is completely frustrating when every single other flight game that
Mhm.
I've played does that.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
So
Grand
they've-
Theft Auto and Heat Seeker on PSP, friggin' Tom Clancy's Hawks on PlayStation 3.
I played games from the 90s on my PC that had inverse controls that you could flip back and forth. Like, yeah, it's
Mhm. And hell, I think even the Harry Potter game that I played on PC way back in the day, whichever one that
The
is, I
Quidditch
think it
battles?
might have been the first. I don't think it was Quidditch. I think it was just
I think it
Or
might have
maybe
been the
it was.
Philosopher's Stone because I know that you had Quidditch matches in there and you could enter into the Quidditch
Actually-
tournament.
Actually, I think it might have actually been on Xbox, so it might have been the solely the Quidditch one.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe that even had inverted controls. So I'm like, what are you guys doing?
So this game does not allow you to have. Wait, they inverted your inverted controls,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Yeah.
can't invert them back to inverted controls. They're inverse
unless
inverse
it-
controls.
They're
Unless if there's some aspect of the settings that I completely missed, even though I went into it multiple times and like went into every single tab option that was available in the game.
yeah.
There's no option to change up the controls or remap buttons or anything. It's solely just you want to go up, you push up on the stick. You want to go down, you pull down on the stick, which is not how it's supposed to work.
It depends on the game for me. Sometimes I want inverted, sometimes I don't. I don't.
That's like if they changed Call of Duty and instead of like pulling the right trigger to fire, you have to depress the right
Button.
thumbstick.
Push in the thumbstick. Ugh. Yeah.
It's completely uncomfortable feeling when you've played so a certain way for so long.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So what was it called again?
Midnight Sun, I believe.
That's interesting because I think that there's a Marvel game that we're going to be playing called Midnight Suns.
Hmm.
So that's our next bickering puck game after we review Bayonetta is Midnight Suns.
Hmm.
So
I wonder if
interesting.
Midnight Sun is like a forbidden quote. It's just guaranteed to just be a bad game, no matter what game it is. If it's got Midnight Sun in it, it's going to be bad.
I don't know. I'm not too unexcited for the Midnight Suns Marvel game that we're playing because it's like a tactical RPG, like XCOM with superheroes. So we'll see.
It's not going to have controls in it that make it feel like
I
the
hope
development
not.
team participated in the Tide Pod challenge.
No, I hope not. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't even have it yet. I'm waiting on Jared to get it because Little Game Store
Fingers crossed.
has
Fingers
to
crossed.
specifically order games sometimes. So, waiting on that and Them's Fighting Herds. Have you seen that one? That's another one I'm getting from him.
Oh no.
It is a bunch of like herd animals as a fighting game. Like we're talking like a Sprite 2D fighter.
Oh my god.
So you got cows, you've got a deer, you've got other farm
I'll be right back.
animals, a sheep maybe.
Oh.
And they're all done in this like My Little Pony style, and it looks great. It just looks so funny. I'm getting a physical version for Switch, and I'm gonna make it the fighting game that I'm finally gonna be good at, and I'm gonna be that one guy that like, let's play Them's Fighting Herds, everybody, and they're gonna be like, why are you so good at this? Why did you put so much time into this stupid game? And I'm gonna be like, because I wanted to be good at some fighter game, and this one made me laugh.
It better to be, really, really good at an extremely niche and very hard to come by game. So that way you can be the best at it forever. When people,
Yes.
because like everybody's going to be playing Street Fighter, everybody's going to be playing Tekken, or Dragon Ball Fighter Z, or some other weird, like 2D fighter game, or like
You're forgetting the best one, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat.
or Blaze Blue, yeah, or Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the crossover one where it's Mortal Kombat X DC. We don't talk about that one. That never happened.
MK8. Yeah. That's the bad one. Although it spawned Injustice. We have Injustice because of it, and Injustice is not bad.
Injustice is good.
So
yeah, we don't talk about MC8
so
or
when
MK8.
when Ace gets back, we will hear Morg's number 5, and we'll go around the table. I will say,
Excellent.
while Ace is gone, for the audience, I told you two about this while we were before the show, or actually I told Ace. You weren't here yet, Morg. I did finish God of War, Ragnarok, and I will say, because last week I rated it without having finished it. It was the only game that I had done that. I will say that I would probably keep it at its spot had I finished it before. Based solely on the fact that these 5 that we're going to be talking about today had more of a personal and or just lasting impact on me as a game. And whereas God of War had a pretty personal impact, though, because the theme of the story ends up being letting go of the one you love. Like your kids, like letting go of your kids, letting them grow up and do their own things. And having gone through the year of like forcibly me being able to see my kids less, I was like, this is not the message I was looking for today, God of War. Stop being so close to the heart on this. So, like, please stop. So it hit me pretty hard in that last hour and a half. But I would still keep it where it's at, because it's hard to put Sunbreak any lower than it is. It was hard to put Sunbreak as low as it is. He just ended up being number 6. And God of War is right up there with it. I mean, it was really good. The battles were really fun. Like, I would beat my head against, lose like 15, 16 times on some of the optional fights and still go at it with just as much determination. Like, it's a good game. But yeah, so I finished it, all good. And then I've kind of run into, not really into a slump, but I've been kind of like not really committing to playing a game on my list. I was going to play, I immediately tried to start up Plague Tale, Requiem, that got a bunch of nominations.
Oh, yes.
It won't run
The
on
one
my
about,
PC.
the French Revolution bubonic plague thing going on. Yeah, yeah, that looks like a good game.
It won't run. It doesn't run on my PC.
It won't-
I hit start and it goes to a black screen and nothing happens. And so I'm going to
Have
be...
you done a troubleshoot?
Yeah, I've done a lot of things. I've disabled VSync and other options to sort of make it try to go. I've gone through forums and stuff. My last resort, which I'm going to do eventually, is submit a ticket. So that was my planned next game. So then I've just kind of been like, so what's next? Because I don't want to start Deathloop right away. I even know it's the one sitting on my PlayStation. So I've actually been playing Sports Story, which is a game that recently came out. That one, if you ever want to play a 2D game where you solve all of your problems with golf, that's...
Can't say that I will ever find myself wanting to do that.
Yeah, I mean it's a fun game, I will say. So Golf Story is what it originally was. This is the sequel, Sports Story. So instead of just golf, you now have to hit soccer balls with your golf club. You now have to hit tennis balls. You get a tennis racket eventually. I have infiltrated a tennis school for revenge. Revenge for something I don't know. I'm just told that I'm supposed to do it for revenge. It's got a good sense of humor. It's just a top-down 2D game where you play golf and you're trying to solve the world's problems with golf. It's just fun and a silly story.
Happy Gilmore, the video game.
Kinda. They do have a Happy Gilmore reference because one of the bad guys, the team of bad guys are essentially like these 3 Yakuza, and one of them does hit the golf ball with a baseball bat. Like, that's his thing. He just hits things with a baseball bat. They're called the Silver Dragons, I think, or something. And they're these like 3 like Yakuza guys who are just going around roughing people up and buying. It's like this weird, turned into this weird conspiracy theory and mystery all at the same time. So I actually had like a stealth spy mission I was playing that I was like, where did this come from? This wasn't even in the first game. The first game was wacky. Like, this is out there. So I was doing a stealth spy mission where I was like turning off things and like searchlights and stuff and getting caught by spies, and there was all this weird like I'm a 7-time double agent and that's the only true thing you'll ever hear me say. And it's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? It's got
okay,
it's got a goofy sense.
He's
of
a
humor.
double agent pretending to be a double agent, 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 pretending to be a double agent.
Yes, I think that's where they're going with. He's done it twice now, so we got 5 more times for him to double cross.
That's just reminding me of Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I mean,
The dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Yep.
I
What's
feel
happening?
like if you're gonna be
The
like a
dudes are
double
coming
agent
out.
7 times over, I feel like either side's probably just gonna shoot him in the head because they don't know whose side he's on. Because at that point, it's like, okay, let's not gamble on this one. Click, click, bang, and then they just kill him, and it's like, okay, we don't have to worry about it anymore.
I forgot. So in the course of me playing the game, already I have become a professional BMX biker and a professional fisherman through different things.
Wow.
and
Whew.
by applying the skills of
Eagle.
golf. I don't know how it worked with
It's-
the BMX stuff, but
Eagle.
it's there. It's just a fun, goofy game, and that's what I've been playing when I have not been playing Monster Hunter again with the boys. So, as I'll call them, the high school buds. So Ace, we were gonna wait for you to get back. Morg is gonna lead us off with our 5 through 1. So,
You guys could have kept going.
But
Well, we
first,
didn't want you to
before we
miss
even
it.
start, this has proudly not been sponsored by After Eight's orange flavor. Ooh.
is that a tea?
They're actually quite tasty. After Eight mints.
Oh,
Wait, are they something that actually is like sold in the United States,
I've never seen them.
or is this like strictly Canadian, imported by Nestle Canada Inc.
Yeah,
North
Nestle
York,
Canada.
Ontario. Okay, yep. It's a Canada exclusive. Sorry, guys, you just don't get to enjoy the orange chocolate goodness. Alrighty, where are we? Are we on our number 5 already?
Yep, number 5.
Number 5. Pokemon Sacred Gold. It's
Okay.
really, really good. I can't get enough of it. It's a great port. They've made it so that the HMs actually have types to them. Cut is a grass type. It makes sense because you're using vines or claws or whatever, and it specifically says vines in the TM description. Vines are a plant part. There you go. So it's great for that. Strength is
Yeah,
a rock type
si-
move. Like they've got fighting type moves as HMs. Half of the HMs don't even need to be used in certain places. They've changed up the gym leaders. The levels are a lot higher cap. You can catch Pokemon from any region. It's just so much better. It's great. I love it. It's better than Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
Okay.
They're changing a few things, and I believe that there is a mod that, or at least an update that came out a little while ago, or at least that Drayano mentioned when he was developing it, that he was adding the fairy type into the game. Not necessary, but it's great. At least it'll match up with Renegade. What is it? I think it's Renegade Platinum. Yeah. Renegade Platinum might actually be better, but I haven't had a chance to play it. All I know is that's the one that I'll eventually want to be playing later on. Can't put it on the list yet. So Sacred Gold for now is pretty darn good.
Yeah, and if I get around my backlog, I have been wanting to play some Pokemon mods after having watched a lot of solo runs recently. So,
You may like Vintage White because it's basically Pokemon, like it's the 5th gen games, but they only have up to 3 generations of 3 generations of Pokemon. So 4th and 5th generations don't count, except for certain evolutions for like the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd gen mons. Those are included, but otherwise, most of the other Pokedex mons from 4th and 5th gen don't show up. And the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd ones have been revitalized with new types and new, like, better stat setups and stuff like that. So they can actually be pretty good.
okay. Well,
Electrode's way overtuned, though.
we'll see.
Just saying, if you want to get one.
All right. Sacred Gold. Pokemon Sacred Gold. All right. Didn't you talk about that last year, too? I think you did. A couple of years ago.
I think I did mention it. Yes, I did mention it, like, I think maybe a year ago, but I didn't get a chance to play it. Having got a chance to play it now, it's great. I love it. It's just super duper good.
Okay. All right. So, Sasha, number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me is Road 96. Yes. So Road 96 is about, it's like it's set in the 90s, and it's like an alternate timeline. There's like a weird dictatorship that has gone down in the United States, and teenagers are abandoning their families and escaping for the border on like a road trip style random generator. as you move through different levels. So you get to play a random teenager. You start at a random spot somewhere in the map. You might have money, you might not have money, and you have to manage your hunger, you have to manage your fatigue, and you may or may not actually make it to the border. And then when you get to the border, you may not actually be able to pass.
Yeah.
And you get to do 6. I think you get 6 run-throughs, 6 attempts.
I remember you talking about a few of them, and you did get past once, right? At least.
I only did not get through one time.
Yeah.
I got caught trying to hide in a truck crossing the border, and I didn't hold my breath, and I got caught by a dog. So, yep. But the rest of my run-throughs, I did make it across the border. But each time that you go through whatever path you use to get across the border, that path is not available to you the next time that your character comes through, because it wises up the authorities to that option.
Yeah.
So you have to do a different option every single time. And then some of them are not available to you if you don't have enough money.
Or other things. Gotcha.
Yep. So there were some things that I messed up, I would say, on my first full playthrough of the game. I haven't done a second set of 6 yet, because I moved on to other games, but I think it is worth revisiting it at some point again.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really unique game. I liked yes, there are some predictable things. There's only so much you can do with random generations. But what I really liked about it was choices I maybe had made with one character impacted another character, maybe my 4th or 5th character in that whole story.
Yeah.
Because of a choice that I made with somebody else. And I like that kind of stuff. Impact in a game.
Sure. Okay. Alrighty. So my number 5, it was Stray, a recent one that I played. That, I didn't expect. You think it's cool and cute because you're playing as a cat. There was some real heavy stuff towards the end of the game about humanity in general, because as you're playing as this cat, you're realizing that you're in a post-apocalyptic area. Humans are dead. They're all robots. I missed this on the trailers and stuff. I only really saw the cat with some weird robot companion. I didn't realize that all the people were just robots. I didn't realize that there were no humans. So there's this really poignant story about the fall of humanity and how the robots are sort of in reverence for their creators, which are the humans, sort of emulating the life of humans, because their purpose is gone because they served humans. But now that they're free, they don't really have much else to do. So they just kind of kept doing what they used to do, but then they eventually started having their own thoughts and beliefs and feelings and that kind of stuff. And you sort of learn that as this cat going through the game. And the cat doesn't it was weird because the cat was a good medium for not being so attached to everyone else's feelings, because it's a cat. Why would it care? Right? So it's still the main character, right? And you're still doing everything that you need to do to get through the game. But the cat, you end up sort of having to insert your personality into the cat so that you can progress. And I thought that was really cool. Now, the cat does have its own personality and stuff. There's this thing You got to do all sorts of cat things. Like, there's these paint buckets that you can knock off of shelves, and that's a key component all the time. Just knocking shit off of shelves. Like, all sorts of, like...
Switching the rugs
Yeah.
and the couches.
Yeah, there's
God.
there's an achievement for sharpening your nails in every chapter. Stuff like that. There's an achievement for dying 9 times, which I didn't. So I didn't get the achievement for having 9 lives. I didn't die that much. But it's basically a modern story-driven platformer to a degree. There isn't a lot of combat or that kind of thing. You're mostly just sort of finding your path and figuring out what to do next. And
I'll be back.
sure. It's just really good. The music was good. The art direction was good. Like, when we talked about the Game Award nominations and how it got nominated for art direction, I was kind of like, eh. And then I got into later parts in the game, and I was like, no, yeah, I totally deserved it. Same with music. Like, it's because I didn't have experience with it. I would say, same thing about God of War. You know, I was like, really? The music? I didn't really, But then I got into parts of the game where you get these crescendos and, like, you get these, like, heavy pieces in God of War for the music. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's why it was nominated. That's the stuff. So, like, because you don't hear that stuff on the surface level or on the outside. And Stray was very much, once you're into it, once you get deeper, I fully believe that it had a good shot at Game of the Year. A lot of people are like, I wasn't going to win. I'm like, nah, I could have seen it winning, having finished it. And I will say this, and I know people are going to hate me for this all the time, every day. Better than Elden Ring. Elden Ring's not on the list. And I'm going to keep saying it, guys.
Wow. Bash it hard, man. Get rid of the normie vibe. It's not mainstream. Ugh,
I can't help it. I am tired of the FromSoft formula. I have been tired of it. Like, not my thing. Sure, you can say that, but I don't think Elden Ring did anything spectacular over anything else this year. So, Stray was my number 5, which means the other ones have to have done a lot better. So Morg, when he's back, not Morg, Ace, when he's back, we'll pick up on his number 5. But Morg, let's just go ahead and move on to your number 4.
I'm gonna have to give it to Legends Arceus because, oh boy, this was the Pokemon game that I feel like everybody needed at a time when it finally came out. It broke the formula. It wasn't your stereotypical turn-based strategy game like all the other conventional Pokemon games were. Like, the combat system was drastically changed compared to like what the old games were like. The method of which you caught Pokemon was very refreshing. It was super duper different. I like the fact that you have to use that you can use bait. You can use different types of balls that are not conventional to the normal ones that you usually would go for.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just felt like a much better Pokemon game. Like, I feel like I think it actually might be better than Violet and Scarlet, based off of the way that I've seen Violet and Scarlet play. I think Arceus is probably best by differentiating itself from like conventional Pokemon games. Like, it stands apart as like its own thing, and they did a wonderful job of it. Honestly, I think it's great, including like all the different evolutions that do not exist in other games, like these sort of like how would I describe it? They're kind of like dead species, I suppose, if you'd want to call it that, or like extinct species, where they do not exist in the modern Pokemon world, but they existed in feudal Japan, and like I guess they all died out, or maybe like the methods by which they evolved like don't exist anymore because they're not necessary for certain Pokemon evolutions.
Legitimately one of my favorite Pokemon, Cleaver. is one of those.
Mhm.
The rock evolution of Scyther. Like,
Yep. Cleavor is a really good one. I like that Stantler has its own evolution based off of a unique move that only exists in Arceus. Same thing with like I think it's Sneasler.
mhm.
Like just a cool concept
Oh,
altogether. Like
oh,
making
yeah.
another fighting poison type, but it's actually like it's fast, it's powerful, it does lots of damage. And I like the use of like all of like the ancestor characters and making it so that like they kind of pay homage to a lot of their like descendant characters. Like there's like what is it, the chef who is also secretly a ninja, Wally.
Mhm.
I think it's Wally, right? Like from Gen 3, the sickly kid.
I am not sure because my mind goes blank on any sort of mainline Pokemon from Gen 3 all the way up to Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon is when I start memorizing what happened in Pokemon again. Like,
And like yeah, like the professor is like the descendant of like this general or whatever that is like is super prejudiced against Pokemon and is like very fearful of them. And then like later on in his line is all about like exploring Pokemon and like even like works on the Pokedex and stuff like that for Gen 4.
mhm.
What is it? Like his assistant who I think is a lieutenant, I can't remember, the captain, ends up like her descendant down the line ends up becoming like the big villain in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Like honestly,
Yeah.
I just like the use of all these different characters and the way that they portray the ancestors of all the characters that we are familiar with, and the fact that they have like one of the train conductors, like one of the train brothers, actually falling backwards in time with you. um that was a cool Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, like honestly, I just like the concept of like Pokemon actually being feral and dangerous, and it being portrayed in such a way where you have to sneak around them, that you can get ganged up by them, that you have to be cautious, and
They
yeah,
will
like
attack you and not
they
your
will attack
Pokemon.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like if you get into a battle, you can get ganked by like a huge group of Pokemon at once. They're not just going to tag you in like in a one-on-one match. It just it's perfect. I love it. It's the perfect Pokemon game for me. Honestly, I really really enjoy it. Especially like discovering all the different ways that you have to evolve your Pokemon,
Mhm.
and like completing your Pokedex. Um just phenomenal game all around. Like I really loved it. Like I dedicated so much time to playing that game, and it was oh yeah. I don't have enough words to really describe just how amazing of a game it is. Like that's why I would say it's definitely better than like the current games that I'm playing right now, even the modded ROMs. It's just
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Sasha,
Oh, I
you're
forgot to mention the crafting mechanics, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Number 4 for you.
Number 4 for me was Norco, which was, I think that got nominated for something at the Game Awards. Norco was a surprise for me.
Mhm.
I downloaded it from Game Pass again, because it looked like one of the classic PC point and click games.
Yeah, I
But
remember this now. Yeah.
Yep, but done, like with current gen in mind. So I booted this game up and ended up like it just sucked me in. I think I beat it in a couple of days.
Mhm.
So you in this one are, again, I'm not sure if you're a person or if you're AI of some kind,
Mhm.
because your mom was this like engineer, who worked for a company that after she died is involved in some conspiracy. So it's very cyberpunk almost, but not quite, in that it's not a cyberpunk universe, but it weaves science fiction in with fantasy and um, supernatural stuff.
Right.
So you are initially trying to investigate the circumstances around your mom's death, even though your mom was really sick. Your mom had like a cancer, and
Mm.
you think that initially that, you know, your mom succumbed to this long illness, but you come to find that your mom had downloaded her consciousness to this computer drive. And one of her friends, another older guy who worked for the company, also did this. And their bodies have long since passed, but their consciousness are living on in these hard drives. But the files have become corrupt. This is where like the supernatural and sci-fi stuff starts to weave together. But what I really liked about this game and why it was so high up on the list for me is it deals a lot with grief after a loved one passes, like doing things after, like for somebody after they've passed because you didn't do or say things to them when they were still alive, and it's kind of like your way of dealing with that grief. And
Yeah.
I did not expect this game to make me cry, but it did.
Yeah.
And it has some nice, clever, funny things in the dialogue that lighten the mood a bit. I got a really interesting, fun achievement for recruiting my mom's dead body into my party.
Interesting.
I also made a cat explode because I pet it so much that it got so excited that it exploded.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So it was a really nice change of pace, but it also was a beautiful nod to like the PC point and clicks of the 90s. Like it felt like a Gabriel Knight game.
Yeah.
That's really cool. The minute that you mentioned like the transferring a consciousness into a hard drive, that I was immediately just starting to think of the movie Chappie. If anybody's ever seen any like Blomkamp movies,
Oh.
has
No,
anybody
I
ever seen
haven't.
those?
No.
Oh
No.
God, yeah, Chappie is such a great movie. It's like about like a robot with an AI that is like so highly developed that it actually is a conscious being, and yeah, like it I can't really give too much away about the movie, but it's a really really good movie. I highly recommend anybody watching it if they like sci-fi where there's like oh, I don't know how to describe it. Like, they're movies that are very sci-fi, but there are elements of like humanity and moralism in them that makes people feel. I don't want to say grounded, but like it makes people feel a little bit more connected with like good moral concepts, like the way that the stories are told in those movies. It's definitely a phenomenal movie. Better than District 9. I'd probably say maybe Elysium is probably my second favorite, but I would say Chappie is probably number one out of all the Blomkamp films.
Okay.
Definitely something that I connected with when the minute you mentioned that in the video game.
I will say, as far as like downloading a consciousness into hardware and stuff, that little robot that follows you around in Stray is a human that is downloaded into that robot. So that's like one of the things too in that. It was just,
That's really cool.
yeah. And yeah, the stuff he says and the stuff that he learns about himself, because he doesn't know who he is, he just know he is one. Used to be a human. The stuff that you figure out from him and the stuff he ends up saying are kind of the emotional, like heavy hitters at the end of the game. So I won't say more than that, but yeah. To not be so spoilery. And I guess I should have said this last week, and I'll say this now. We could be spoiling these games we are talking about tonight. I really spoiled Bayonetta for someone apparently, and they had to stop listening. So
I did give my husband the heads up that when he gets to the Bayonetta part to skip.
yeah. Yeah, if those parts were really impactful to me, so I wanted to talk. Yeah, sorry.
Well,
I
I don't think
feel-
I
yeah.
spoiled. I don't think I spoiled Norco. There's
No.
still a lot of the mystery that you need to figure out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good though. I really recommend it for people who like point and clicks.
Okay.
I think it would be very impossible for me to be able to spoil Legends Arceus, because I think Legends Arceus was probably one of the reasons why everybody was really excited for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. And honestly, anybody who is a Pokemon fan probably has already played Legends Arceus.
So
Wasn't that your game of the year last year? Fortune?
no,
I don't
no.
remember.
Mine was Tale of Arise. The anime.
Oh yeah. But Arceus, I feel like we talked a lot about Arceus.
Yeah, but Arceus came out in
Yeah.
January, so without further ado, my number 4, Pokemon Arceus. So, yes, I agree with everything you were saying, Morg. We are actually put it at the same level. It is number 4. To add on to what Morg you said, I agree with everything. I thought that everything that they changed was great. To me, I feel this should be the future of Pokemon, and that's, yes, why I was so excited for Scarlet and Violet. Now, I loved Violet, don't get me wrong, but it needed to be, like I said last week, it needed to be at that level of what Arceus did. It needed to have fully embraced those ideas. And having learned about how they developed, because Violet and Arceus were not developed by the same team, and they were actually developed at different times, and there were some idea sharing, but by the time that, Violet was, by the time Arceus came out, Violet was already set in stone on what it was going to be and what it was going to do. So it wasn't going to have all of Arceus's ideas. And so the next Pokemon game, I hope, is another Arceus. Because if it isn't, then they're going the wrong direction, in my opinion, and I think many other people's opinions. It is what got my excitement for Pokemon back. Like, sure, I played Sword and Shield when they came out, but I played them for a week, and then I was done. And that's what I've been doing with Pokemon since Gen 3. As I'm in for a month at most. I get through the Elite Four. I maybe catch all of the Pokemon. Like I started doing that again in Sword and Shield. I make my bug team and I move on, because no one wants to fight me, or as many times as I try to fight someone, I'm gonna lose because they're all bugs. But it's just funny to me. Because of Arceus, I tried to make a bug team in Arceus. It was too hard. It was actually too hard for me to make a bug team in Arceus. I thought about doing it in Scarlet and Violet again, because that is just sort of the identity I've taken on as a Pokemon trainer, is this the bug trainer. I couldn't do it. There was not enough interesting Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet for me to do a bug team. Like, Snom and Frosmoth would have been the two. And they're from the same evolutionary line. Like, I give no shit about whatever that cricket was. Low kicks or whatever his... Like, I just don't care. Like, he was like a dark bug, and whatever.
Oh, what about that scarab beetle? Or no, sorry, it was like a dung beetle.
There's a
the
bug
one with the psychic orb.
Yeah, there is a bug psychic one. I think I probably would have gotten to that one, but by the time I found that one, I'd already had a better one in my brain, which was Bramblegast, like the grass ghost. I was just like,
yeah,
Bramblegast, that's my boy. Like, I can't, like, I'm sorry, dung beetle, not really my kind of bug type. Like, get me Beedrill, Volcamoth, which Volcamoth is in this. But I just didn't attach to it. Like, Volcamoth for me is not a super big, high up on my list bug type, because my favorite bug type is Centiskorch. Or Scorchipede, or one of
that one's a really good one. Yeah, Centiskorch.
That's a fire type, and I don't need Volcamoth anymore, even though Volcamoth was a pseudo legendary at the time. But Arceus,
I feel like
I want to see that Pokedex come back. That Pokedex was much more detailed than any other Pokedex, you actually felt like you were researching the Pokemon versus like, oh, hey, now that you've caught it, we'll tell you everything we know about this monster. You're researching. Like, no, that doesn't, like, the Pokedex started getting entries, and they were your entries. They were your physical writing, according to the game, after having caught 50 Electrobes.
Right. So you walked so Ash Ketchum could run with his Pokedex.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I mean, like, that's the thing about Arceus is that you're the one who is out in the field. You're the one who is documenting everything firsthand. And you're the one who is basically the pioneer exploring this new
Right.
land, and you're out there actually discovering everything, as opposed to the Pokedex literally being some 14-year-old kid who is just a lazy ass who decided to Google everything and then copy paste somebody else's work and then slap it into their report and say, yeah, I got it done. Like, that's literally what the modern Pokedex does.
And that's something, even as a kid, I didn't like about the Pokedex, because it's like, why would I know everything? Like, aren't I researching? Like, the game tells you that you're discovering Pokemon, and then you get out there and like, what the hell are you talking about, kid? We all know about these. Like, look, I've got like 7 of these things right here. Shut up. Like, and we're just like,
yeah.
But Professor Oak, but like.
And that's like one of the things that I never really liked about like the modern Pokedex is that they already have all this information like readily available. It's already been collected. Like, they already understand like the behavior of these animals. They already know about their habits, their habitats, their food sources, where you can find them. And like, you don't even have to catch the Pokemon. Like, you just have to encounter them the one time, and then the Pokedex just automatically has the areas where you can catch those Pokemon, whether you caught it or not. So I mean, like, I don't know, man. Like,
it sounds like Arceus retcons what the function of the Pokedex is in all of the earlier games, because now the Pokedex is a tricorder.
Yes, essentially.
Because the data already exists.
Yeah,
exactly.
But they tell you it doesn't, and that's the disconnect. Is like every game.
That's so Professor Oak can hang out with your mom. Like, get out of here.
I thought that was Mr. Mime. Anyways.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, Professor Oak. I mean, like, he's probably that new husband. He's looking around. He's like, oh, hey, Ash.
Better get going on that adventure, kid.
You might want to get down there. Get to that Pokemon League. I got a creek to fish in. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean? And then there's Ash, like, I don't know what you mean. I'm 10 years old. I'm just gonna go and do this thing for you. And then he goes off. And then there's Professor Oak running over to your mom's house, going, getting some cookies. So, but I mean, like, seriously, like, the way that Arceus did it with the Pokedex, it actually makes sense because it is your journal, like what Fortuan says. You're the one who's doing all the research. You're the one who's documenting everything going on. And all this information is being discovered firsthand. Is the best way to do it. And I'm kind of sad that they didn't do it.
And I love just cracking a Pokemon in the back of the head with a Pokeball and catching it. Like, that's just hilarious to me. Like,
surprise attack,
yeah. Because, like, I've always wanted... Because, like, Ash didn't fight every Pokemon in the anime. Sometimes he's just like, oh, poor Bulbasaur's lonely. Here, Pokeball. Get in the Pokeball. We're friends now. Like, you don't get those moments in the game. You have to beat the shit out of Bulbasaur, stuff him in a ball, and he's your friend. Like,
I don't want to live the Charmander episode though, like that.
No. You don't. Yeah, that's.
I don't need that.
But Arceus was the closest to that experience that they have ever had, where you didn't have to fight something to catch it. Like, you could just lure it in and just throw the Pokeball, and it's like, yeah, I'm okay with this. We're cool. You gave me a Poke treat. We're good.
And like a lot of those monsters that you had to catch, like, they all had different behaviors. Some of them are super aggressive and they will literally just hunt you down to the ends of the earth. Other Pokemon have defensive tactics. Like, for example, Mr. Mime, you can't just throw a Pokeball at it. It'll just throw up a barrier.
He puts a barrier.
You can't do anything about it. You have to ambush it.
His Mime barrier. He's like, and then the Pokeball just bounces off of it, and you're like, I see you, Mr. Mime. I see what you're doing. Like, it was such a good experience. Now, the problem, there's two problems I have with this game, and it is partially why it deserved, for me, number 4 on the spot was a hard place to earn. But, the other games are above it for a couple reasons. One of the reasons, there are some shortcomings. It wasn't like a super emotional connection like some of the other games were, but it was such a well-executed game. I will say, the main town music, I swear to God, I would have blown my brains out if I listened to it any longer. Like, it was so monotonous and repetitive and dumb. It's like 4 notes that just drone on. And people are like, oh, but it's an homage to this thing. And I don't care. Give it 7 more notes, please. Like, give it some sort of, like, harmony or something. Like, it was the most mind-numbingly stupid theme of a town I have ever heard. I actively did not like that theme. Other music, great. Other music in that game, fantastic. The main town theme, when you're in the town, annoyed the hell out of me. And then the other part, I would say, is it's a little glitchy, but that didn't bother me as much because I played Violet and it full on crashed 5 times. I will say that other things of Arceus is I am not familiar with that generation of Pokemon. I have no attachment to any of those Pokemon. I basically made a team of the alpha Pokemon because I could. I had a Rapidash on my team because I happened to kind of like Rapidash. I just didn't connect, like, where it's failing is where Violet picked up. I felt so awesome having the Pokemon on my team that I did. So much so that I made like a whole art piece of like the different ones. Now, granted, my art isn't great, but yada yada, it's out there. I did it. I made myself with my team because I loved the Pokemon I had in Violet. Like, they were cool, they had personality and stuff. I have no attachment to any of the Pokemon I had in Arceus. Like, not a single one. Like, I changed my team up so much, and it's not anything against the Pokemon in general. I think Cyndaquil's cool. I really like that I had a Rowlet that turned into a grass fighting with flying moves.
Yeah.
Like,
that
there are cool. I love Cleaver. I talked about that. I had a Cleaver in my party. But that was it. Like, I think it was the Rowlet and the Cleaver, and everything else was just meh. Like, I didn't. I needed it to be a new generation, which is what I was hoping for Violet, and Violet obviously didn't live up to Arceus. So I can't help but imagine what if Violet had been like Arceus, and I had got the stuff like the Baxcalibur and the Skeledirge and the stuff that I played with. Like, I would have been, this could have been number 1. Like, but there are things holding it back. Now, maybe not number 1 because my next 3 are pretty heavy hitters for various reasons. So that being said, we still don't have Ace, the kid stuff going on probably. So Morg, we'll move on to your number 3.
Alrighty, so for my number 3 slot, you guys are gonna hate me for this one. It's chess.
Okay, I do remember you talking about.
I can't help it. I love chess.
The new table that you were talking about that you could play with everyone around the world and stuff. Yeah, I get it.
I mean, like, I currently have a game going on right now that I have yet to finish. And it was a random one that my girlfriend and I actually just started playing, where we were just kind of moving the pieces around. We weren't really taking anything, and we were just kind of just doing our own thing. We weren't like doing like a Queen's Gambit. We weren't doing like a Budapest Gambit. We weren't doing the London opening or anything like that. Like, we were just playing a game for fun.
Were you just chess flirting? Like, hey, move this pawn, and then she's like, hey, move this pawn. Just flirting with chess.
You could say that we both like to be stimulated intellectually. But yes,
God.
honestly, like it's just such a fun game to get into, and I love even like watching other people's games. Like I don't know if I'm just a freak in that nature where like it's just where
No,
I just kind of
I don't think
just
that makes you a
really
freak.
enjoy.
You're just a fan, man. You're just a fan of
Yeah, I
chess.
mean, like I've come to realize that like Morphe in his time was a phenomenal chess player, especially the one game where he was playing against two aristocrats, and it was during an opera game where he finished the guys off in 17 moves, which is pretty darn fast. It isn't like it's not a scholar's mate where it's like 3 or 4 moves, but I
Mhm.
mean, like the way his execution was just like to the point. It was very blunt. He just went at them. He was willing to sacrifice pieces, but the orientation of his pieces, like the positioning of his pieces, was absolutely crucial for him being able to finish off his opponents in 17 moves and very, very quickly. There were a couple of mistakes that the two guys made because obviously they're not in each other's heads, and you
Mhm.
know they're not in sync and playing to their benefit or whatever, or playing proactively in the game. But it was a really good game nonetheless. And then you've got players like Capablanca, you've got Magnus Carlsen, you've got Gary Kasparov, you've got Anatoly Karpov. Like you've got like big grandmaster names, and like a lot of these guys were holders for the title of world champion at some point. And their methods of playing the games are completely different. Like Anatoly Karpov is all about positional chess and suppressing your opponent and slowly constricting them, not necessarily by eliminating all their pieces, but by eliminating any and every advantage that they have in being able to place pieces on the board without them having to sacrifice a piece and lose out on really good trades. And then you look at Magnus Carlsen, he's pretty good in positional chess as well. And Gary Kasparov is more about like flashy plays, about sacrificing pieces in order to be able to smash through your opponent's defenses and then just hit them hard. And then you've got other people like, let me see, Capablanca, who was able to like literally just reverse sweep somebody where they were in a place where he was very, very close to getting checkmated, but yet he was still somehow able to maneuver his way out through good positioning and utilizing his turns effectively and making his opponents lose tempo in order for him to be able to get a win. Chess is one of those games where there is a lot of chess theory and a lot of good principles and a method to it where people have seen, based off of how many games have played, and this game being well over 200 years, being that popular since the 1800s. There are a lot of documented moves and a lot of different positions and a lot of different ways for you to be able to play where a lot of people will say, well, this is the one move that is highly recommended based upon accuracy of good position and where you can take yourself from point A to point B, so on and so forth, how many moves it'll take to actually get ahead of your opponent. There's that.
Okay.
But with each of these grandmasters and also world champions, they all have a particular flavor to their style of play, which makes them incredibly unique. And it also defines like their way of being able to look at a situation and process that information themselves and come up with their own solution to be able to get out of a hairy situation or to gain advantage over their opponent and just win the game.
You're right.
That's why I love chess so much, is because it's very thought oriented and it's really, really fun to play. Oh my gosh.
Okay. All right. Chess it is. For Morg's number 3. Ace, I know you were gone a while. Do you want to hit us with your number 5, and then we'll kind of pepper you in to catch you up?
I mean, I can do 5 and 4.
Yeah, you can do that, and then we'll do Sasha's number 3.
All right, so number 5 was Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Very. I forgot I even played it too, just because I don't know. I guess this year was a lot
Long?
longer
Yeah, it felt
than it
long.
felt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there were things, a lot of things that was going on for me this year that made it feel very long. So, yeah,
Well, no, I'm saying that makes it feel longer than or seem longer than it actually felt because like I forgot that I even played that this year. And
Mhm.
then my number 4 is the Horizon games because I remembered
Okay,
I played Forbidden West, but that part of my brain did not remember playing Jedi Fallen Order and Horizon Zero Dawn just because apparently it's been that long. I thought I played those last year.
yeah. This is also why I've been documenting my game of the year journey all year, so I wouldn't forget. But
Hmm.
I was in no danger of forgetting anything 5 and down. That's for sure.
Hmm. But yeah, I mean Jedi Fallen Order, very good. I like Cameron Monaghan's portrayal of Cal Kestis, and I like how
Mm-hmm.
the story intersplices with the Empire, and then him going through and living through Order 66 and what
Mm-hmm.
happens with him between him and his master,
Yeah.
and then his sort of journey with you know PTSD, and then coming coming to the realization that he sort of has to try and carry on the Jedi Order himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I see this is this is kind of crazy to me because for me the movies have fallen very flat in these years, but the stuff like Fallen Order have done really well for me. Like I really liked Fallen Order's story. So, I am
Oh, I
excited.
love all of it. I mean, there's definitely things that I would have done differently, but like I enjoyed them all for the most part. Like I will be the devil's advocate and give uh, Rise of Skywalker a pass because I mean, I would say they did the best, quote unquote, that they could with what they were given, just because, it sort of
Sure.
seems like they had a very loose roadmap of where they wanted to go, and then they didn't do the groundwork and lay it down very well to bridge off of that, and then J.J. Abrams came back for the final one to tie it together the best he could, and I think he did all right considering. Um, I maybe wouldn't have done
Yeah.
Palpatine. I maybe would have just had Kylo Ren go full dark side and embrace that side of himself.
Or
But
or what they could have done was they could have taken Jar Jar Binks
No.
and they could have made him a proper Sith Lord, like as was intended from the very beginning, if George Lucas wasn't such a nutless little bastard. And if he actually stuck to his guns and didn't pussy out, little bitch, she could have done it right from the get-go. Darth
we can
Jar
save that for
Binks could have been
the
a
TV
thing.
show.
Mm-hmm. So, Fallen Order. And what would you like to say about Horizon? We'll just say Horizon because you did both games this year.
I mean, Horizon is awesome. I mean,
It's gonna get played
definitely was
every time.
a
I point to the backlog.
different.
It's there.
Yeah, to me it was definitely like an amalgamation of several like sci-fi / apocalyptic games.
Yeah.
Obviously definitely has like the Terminator / Transformers vibes with the deadly robots that fight against you, and you have to take them down, and you can actually hack them and control them to certain extents. It's definitely interesting, sort of having the Doomsday AI, sort of like a worse version of what HAL 3000 or whatever from Space Odyssey.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. Yeah.
but like on a more all-encompassing global genocide spectrum of that.
Yes. All of humanity needs to go. Yeah.
Because Morg, I don't know if you have heard me talk about the game before, but the main antagonist of the first game is Hades, which is a AI segment of the overall project Gaia, which was part of Horizon
Oh.
Zero Dawn. So it was determined that because of Ted Varro's monumental fuck up of creating a AI that could self-reproduce itself and drew energy from living beings and did not have a back door to shut them down, it was determined that there would be no saving current humanity.
Oh.
They
Oh,
could
you.
they could escape to bunkers, but they would obviously not live forever. So it's like what? It's like a full 500, 1,000, somewhere in there years after everything goes down that the story takes place.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. So all those humans are very much dead, and it's a very, very interesting story in the first one, and then the second one plays off of that, and is sort of, like I mentioned before, setting up a strange final part, I guess, which I don't know how they would necessarily defeat it, with it sort of being essentially described as a disembodied form of hateful, destructive energy.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Horizon feels like it's like one of those games where I don't even know what kind of genre it really would fit into. It
Action
it
adventure.
kind of feels like, yeah, but I mean, like, oh, sorry, I meant for like the setting. Like, it almost kind of feels like it's like got elements of like Primal mixed with like almost like a cyberpunk style game where it's like tribalism meets sci-fi.
yeah, I would say it's a lot like a Western meets like a techno noir. Well, not techno noir, just like a sci-fi aspect.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely a good game though.
hmm I'd definitely recommend playing it if you haven't already.
I'll get there.
Oh, yeah, my
It's-
brother's got it, so I'm gonna have to borrow his copy.
hmm
Yeah, it's after Deathloop. It's the next one, and I am dragging my feet as much as I can on Deathloop, but
Don't do that.
I'm sorry. My friend got it for my birthday, 2022, and my birthday.
Oh, now you feel obligated to play it, don't you?
He's been pressuring me to play it all year, and I have not. And my birthday is coming up in, what is it? 8 days. So we're coming up on a full year.
Just blitz through the game, just find an easy walkthrough, just strategize your way through the game, just streamline the experience.
Yeah.
Try and get through it as fast as possible. Be like, oh yeah, I remember this part and this part and this part and this part.
So Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn for number 4, and then number 5 was Fallen
Order.
Yeah, I was trying to think of its name. I was going to say Cal Estes, but Fallen Order. Sasha, you're number 3.
Number 3 was the last new game I played of the year, and I was so pleasantly surprised with it. It's called As Dusk Falls,
Mm-hmm.
and it is another Game Pass game. And it is... Now, I've never played Detroit Becoming Human, but I was told when I was describing this game to somebody else that it is similar in the, like, branching choice paths changes your storyline, consequences, like certain story arcs are cut off if you make certain decisions.
Right, but this is par for the course for your favorite kind of game anyways.
Yeah. So, this one is also a period piece. It's set in the 90s, but it jumps back and forth between what happened in the 90s to current time. I think it's like 2000. I want to say like early 2010s is present time for
the game,
the time jump.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, you are following this little girl and her family who are on a road trip. When you control the characters in this part of the path, you play as the dad, and on their road trip, they're moving from California to, I think, Missouri, and they stop at a hotel or a motel in Arizona, and the motel is robbed by three brothers who take all of the people at the motel hostage. And then it switches narratives to one of the three brothers, and it goes back a little bit earlier where they try to rob the sheriff's. And they're trying to get away. The sheriff catches them or sees them driving away, so they stop at the motel and they take those people as hostage to try to like get out of this situation that they're in. So you keep switching in between one of the brothers and the dad, and there's 3 chapters for the first act. And by the end of the first act, everything that is going on at the motel is resolved. And then in the second act, whoever has survived is now progressing through to their either escape or capture. And the little girl is an adult. And so she's dealing with the aftermath of the choices that you make and the consequences from the first act.
Interesting.
And the second.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it is another one that like I was weeping when I got to certain parts, because it does deal a lot with grief. My first run through of the game, I messed up and one of the parents died.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm currently in my second run. Both of the parents are still alive. I don't know what's gonna happen though. We'll see what happens. But it sets up for possibly maybe a second game. Is at the end of the second act. It has a bit of an ambiguous ending. I could see it. I could see there being a second game. I don't know what they would do with it because I don't think it would have anything to do with the original hostage situation that goes down in the 90s. But I can see it having to do with now the adult girl who has to deal with all of her feelings and emotions from that. But this game got me really excited again about like these types of story narrative choice driven games. So I ended up downloading Life is Strange True Colors. I downloaded Tell Me Why. Haven't picked them back up yet to play yet, but those are my next games on my docket.
Okay.
Yeah, I still need to get the Life is Strange series.
It's on True Colors is on Game Pass, so I downloaded that.
Yeah, I saw
for free.
that.
And then if you're into Life is Strange, you should check out Tom. I think it's by the same developers, but it's along the same type of lines of game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was that called again?
As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls. Okay. Interesting. Alrighty. So my number 3 is not inside of my normal genre of games that I like to play, which is essentially feels like dead genre at this point, which is RTSs. And that is Starship Troopers Terran Command. I was very hyped for this game. Talk about space operas, Starship Troopers, one of my favorite movies. But both for its satire and just kill sci-fi killing bugs. Like the only good bug is a dead bug, and that all of those themes and all of that satire and all of that is just surged into every moment of this campaign. And you are playing various, it is straight up an RTS. You are building troops, you are building an army, you are protecting bases from large swaths of arachnids, and you've got new arachnids to deal with. You've got every single kind from the movie. You've got tankers, which I figured out they actually call them tankers in the movie. I was like, so when I say tanker, we're talking like the big one that spewed fire out of its mouth at people.
I remember those, yeah.
You have the plasma bugs that shot like their stardust into the air that like directed comets towards like planets and stuff. So you've got to nuke those, and like you have all those lines. The only good bug is a dead bug, and nuke that bug hole, soldier, and stuff like that. You're dealing with every level of satire of the militarism there. There's literally a unit that you are forced to use that is not as good as your other mechs. So like, you actually get the full mechs, like the full like, and they're tough. Like they'll take out swaths of enemies. Then you get this more expensive, weaker one that you have to protect, and you have a unit that can't fight that has to follow it. That's a camera crew, so that you can do this propaganda campaign saying that we're winning the war. Like it is just, there is some
Makes sense.
awesome moments in this campaign that are like, this is Starship Troopers. This is the most Starship Troopers than anything that has come out since that movie. Like this, everything about it, and it was fun. It was a fun game to play. I did everything available to me at that time. I've seen a couple updates since, but I think they were bug updates. I don't think they were content updates. So, but at one point I had done everything. And now I don't think I'm going to be playing at a harder difficulty. Just playing the normal difficulty was good enough as far as like difficulty. But like you had flamethrower troops, you had weird electrified battery troops that had like really good guns that were really good at taking down like the arachnids and stuff, but they were shorter range than your normal riflemen and stuff. So like you had to really, like, the unit diversity was huge, and they were all very good for different. You had shotgunners, you had rifle troops that had shotguns as backups when they had to reload. Like you had grenades. You could customize your units. Units leveled up and stuff. Like as far as an RTS go, it's probably one of my favorite RTSs I've ever played. And it's very mission based. You're not like, so a lot of RTSs I normally have played. And we're talking like, my favorite is something like Warlords Battlecry. We're talking like 1994 to 1996 level of RTS. Like, of course, that's when they had their heyday too. You know, there's not a lot of 2000s RTS unless we talk about Halo Wars. And Command and Conquer and Tropico were still around in those days too. But like, it was just, there was just like everything that it needed to be was there. And if we had done this on Bickering Bucks, I'd have called it a 10 out of 10, just like I called Jurassic Park a 10 out of 10. Like everything this game sets out to do, it accomplishes and breaks your expectations. Like this game was so well executed and so well done. I don't feel like it's short. I feel like I just poured a lot of hours to it into a short amount of time. Like I just blew through this game. I am definitely looking forward to any DLC or sequel they do. This is a high priority on my list of, you know, keeping an eye on this game in the future. Yeah, it's so good. And it was interesting because a lot of the type of games that I play are a little more open. Like you're just placed in a map. You have a general objective of just win, take over the other person's base, yada, yada. All of these are extremely mission based. So you have 3 riflemen. You have to get to the extraction point, live, and then you'll maybe get some more backups or be able to build something along the line. But you had maps where you had no backup. Like you have to like make it through with 3 units, and units were groups of units, I should say. Like a unit of riflemen was like 12 soldiers or something, but they moved as one. You had to worry about line of fire, which is something that was in the movie very much. Like, get out of my line of fire and stuff like that. Like, that was a very big thing in the movie. Like, you have to worry about positioning and how far away you are. You had to worry about positioning against the bugs, because sometimes you'd have to fight what they just called the warrior bugs, which you see in the movie all the time. They're just the ones with blades on there. While you're getting bombarded,
Yeah, the ones that like step around and they've got like the big jaw, and that's literally all that they are. They're like jaws with like the big spiky legs everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so you had those, which you had to worry about very much because they will tear apart a unit really quick, and they were close combat. But then you had bombardier bugs that were sitting back there, and you would have to fight them within that range. So you'd see this little warning because you could see where they were shooting, and you'd have to like mini manage your units to like spread apart to let that thing hit. Okay, then close back up because you spread apart and fan out so that we can shoot all these bugs, or like have this guy move, but they can't shoot while they're moving, right? Because they're running. And
right.
very few units. The only units that could fight and run were the mechs, and that's why they were probably some of the most fantastic units. You had references to about every movie character you had. Rico is of course a big one, Johnny Rico, because you end up encountering Rico's Roughnecks. But Rico, I think, is long gone at this point, or maybe you don't see him. But yeah, you get some of his Marauder mechs, is what they're called, the Marauders. And yeah, it's so good. I recommend this game to anyone who's remotely interested in the series and can enjoy an RTS to any level. I don't know if it's on anything else other than PC, but I played it on Good Old Games. I know it's also available on Steam if you're into that. So, yeah, Starship Troopers Terran Command. I was really excited for this, and I played the shit out of it, and I will play it some more if they got some more stuff. So there we go. Ace, number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me is Monster Hunter Rise / Sunbreak.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, even though I put it at 6, I am still replaying it with a new character with my friends from high school. We are in high rank. We had just hit HR 5. So, and we are with the goal of hitting Sunbreak content. I'm wearing bone armor.
Nice.
That's what I'm wearing.
Wow. Holy crap, you've gotten that far with bone armor?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't Bone Armor have a part breaker?
Part breaker 1. That's why I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
It's the first part breaker that was available to me. And I haven't switched off because I haven't seen more part breaker. You know me too well. Part breaker king.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be more coming along. I mean, once you get into like the Rathalos armor and later.
Yeah, we just
part
got
of it,
in
yeah.
the 5-star, which is the 2nd star of high rank. And I think we're just going to start seeing more part breaker. But yeah. So Sunbreak, yeah, we've all talked about it. So what made it so high on your list? Except for Sasha. Sasha didn't talk about it.
I've just overall enjoyed Monster Hunter Rise and Sunbreak.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of fun zipping around, climbing up on the walls, running up the walls like a ninja.
I will say, as a comment, it looks beautiful on PC. I normally don't care about that kind of stuff, but it looks so good on PC versus the Switch. Although I will say, the Switch has better loading times, and I don't know why, but it does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how it looks on the Xbox since we got the Series X.
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
maybe-
yeah. It's also coming to PS4 and PS5, too.
Yeah. So I might. We'll see.
We
maybe
are
if they have it
13
on,
days away.
Yeah, maybe if they have it on PlayStation Plus, I'll add that as well. I don't think I
Yeah.
necessarily need to pay another $40 for a game I already have.
I did.
Um,
I did.
but maybe Sasha, we can work on doing co-op play and progress together. I think that would be very fun.
It doesn't help.
We'll see.
It doesn't hurt to have a Sherpa in this game. That's very important to introducing people to the game. Sometimes just having help because it can get complex.
hmm And there are 14 different weapons to choose from.
A lot of different
And
ways to play these weapons too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you find you don't like certain ones, you can always default to what a lot of people like to joke of as easy mode and go with the longsword. Some people call it the weeb stick.
Yeah, because it's a katana. It's a giant katana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for
Um,
weeb. It's more closer to a naginata than a katana, but they do call it that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why I used it a lot in Freedom Unite. I mean, it's just really snappy and quick to use at times.
Yeah,
And
highly evasive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
less,
Great positional weapon.
less cumbersome and risky than the greatsword, especially in
Dude,
those older games.
So I've been playing, like I said, I've been playing on PC. I tried playing with every other weapon. I really did. Like I was like, nope, I'm not going greatsword. I'm not doing it. I went back to greatsword. I cannot help it. Like my brain is so wired to greatsword. I just
Oh, yeah. I mean, Rise and Sunbreak have been my most weapon diverse game because they've just made them so much more accessible, especially Hunting Horn. Like Hunting Horn was never something that I would frequently use in previous games, but since they changed around the way that the notes work, it's
Yeah.
a lot more fluid. And I mean, you don't have to memorize and or have the notes pulled up for certain songs because it lets you know what they are, so you can just combo into them.
Yep.
I mean, potentially that would have been nice in previous games if they did just have the note sheets up on the screen so that you could execute them that way. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see. Maybe they'll return to the old way that the Hunting Horn played, and maybe they'll have the notes up on screen so that you can just have them there for your own reference while you're playing.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree. It's a fantastic game. It's just, I know you listened, Ace, but I just have to reiterate that end game just really pissed me off, and I can't. Afflicted.
Yeah,
I remember it now. Afflicted monsters. Like I just.
Yeah,
We'll see.
It is what
I
it is.
think, yeah, I think
Not
my
for
only
everyone.
gripe with the game was that the DLC featured a lot of either fire type monsters, poison type monsters, fire type monsters with poison. This didn't feel like there was like enough diversity. I mean, like I feel like Violet Mizutsune could have been an electric type. Or they could have changed up Silver Rathalos, and that way he incorporated ice along with his fire. That'd be a cool idea.
I mean, I would
Or they could've
rather have just added Zamtrios if they wanted to do ice. Like
Yeah.
They could
my
have done that as well.
I really that sticks in my craw that they really teased some larger monsters with the smaller monster version of them, and they just
Yeah.
didn't deliver.
Gravios, Ignactor.
Oh,
They could have
there
had
are-
a whole bunch of them.
There are 9. There are 9 now that have a younger version of them in the game and not an older version. Like I don't know how they
Yeah.
did that with Gravius. Gravius has never not been in a game with Basarius, but here we are. Here's Rise and Sunbreak. And that's just my ecology brain just like not enjoying this. Like that's not a stick on the game itself, but yeah.
We do have some unknown monster coming up with the next not expansion,
Update.
DLC batch.
Yep. We got
I swear to
two
God.
more updates coming in 2023. We've got one this winter and one in spring. So we're going to probably see it probably end of January. We'll probably see the next one, maybe February, and then we'll probably see it in March. And I'm guessing. So Eric's put a video out. I don't know if you guys watched it, but I still occasionally watch Eric's videos on Monster Hunter. He said this, and I agree with him that I think that this winter, not the winter, but the spring update they're talking about, the second update this year, I think that's the last Sunbreak update we're probably going to get. Last major update.
Yeah.
I don't think we need any more than that. I mean, like, it would have been nice to have seen a Gen 5 Vespoid Queen, but I mean, like,
Yeah, I had
there's always
so
Gen 6.
I had so many high hopes for some. I mean, they started off grand with a great monster variety, but you're right. At the end, they sort of went to some fire and poison. It was just like, you want fire? You want poison? You want fire? You want poison?
I
with
feel
the
like that's
silhouette,
like
a lot of
literally the
people-
only two options that we had were fire monsters, poison monsters, and more fire and poison monsters, or
Hey,
monsters that had
you know
weapons
what?
that dealt fire in conjunction with poison.
I didn't
what
say
was it,
this when we talked about this when you and I both talked about Sunbreak last week, but getting Espinus, I don't care that it's fire and poison, right? Like, I don't
it was
care.
a cool concept. Yeah, I love it.
Getting-
Regular Espinas is phenomenal.
Getting Espinus not only is my new favorite fight, period. Like, period.
Oh yeah.
It opens the floodgates of a dead Monster Hunter franchise with dozens of monsters that we have never fought outside of that series. And I would love to see those floodgates continue to stay open and for us to see all those monsters that we have never fought because we didn't feel like impersonating a Korean social security number or, whatever they needed. Like,
what was it? There was a monster that it kind of was like a giant leech thing with like a projectile tongue, and it like drains the blood of other monsters and stuff like that, and it can like utilize their abilities and stuff like that. Like, what is it? I can't remember what it was called, but
there was a
what was it
Piscean
called?
one that just regurgitated stuff at you too. Like, there was all sorts of crazy ones. There's a giant turtle. There's a giant turtle monster. We've never seen a turtle monster. Like, I want a turtle.
Like, it's supposed to be like apparently supposed to form a trio with like Euconlos and a Cantor, I think it is. It's like a desert one.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like this big like reddish orange looking turtle thing. Yeah, and it looks like a giant fortress. That thing looks really cool. But yeah, that one that
I want
sucks
the scorpion.
Blood,
I want the scorpion.
The crystal scorpion was a cool idea too.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to remember the name of the vampire monster thing, whatever, like the lamprey with like the tongue where it latches onto like Iaprays or like Genprays and whatever, and then it drains their blood, and then it like uses like beam attacks that are like either matches the elemental or status effects of like the monsters that it fed on. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but
I don't know.
I would say it was Laviente or something like that.
It might be Laviente. Let me see.
Hey, yeah, that's a Google thing. Like, those don't appear in our guess the monster stuff because that's Frontier, which we do have to finish that. Yeah.
Off of the tease silhouette, a lot of people are thinking that it's going to be Valkana or a Valkana subspecies that is coming in.
I'd be okay with Valkana.
No, it's not Laviente. But Laviente would have been a really cool monster to fight, like a giant serpent dragon thing, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Right, that's what that one was.
Yeah, the big
Telemadur would have been a great one too. Like, oh man, like Telemadur, Shengal Ren, or Yamatsukami. Like, those are great monsters that they could have incorporated into Sunbreak because they're so big, and like they almost function as like their own terrain in a way that Sora Magdaros only wishes that he could have done.
I mean, we got the tower back, so I mean, it would be awesome if they could actually delve into that and include more of those specialized arenas and fights.
I would like to see specialized like arena fights and siege battles, like more stationary siege battles, not the ones where you have to, go from point A to point B and stuff like that. But
yeah, I think they tried to get away from the stationary siege battles with the Rampage, and then they saw that nobody liked that, so then they went back to they immediately just tried something else with Sunbreak, because
the companion system is really good.
So playing
say that.
Playing with my buds just recently who haven't played Sunbreak, they're like, "Oh yeah, why aren't we ramping up our weapons?" Because like I guarantee you, ramping up your weapons means nothing in Sunbreak. Like it's not even worth your time. We're just, if you want to blow through, we're not ramping up weapons. It's a waste of time. Like we're doing the literally two required rampages. No, 3. Sorry, because you got to do Ibushi. Because you got to do the first one, then you got to do Alpha Azurus, and then you got to do her Apex. I'm going to call him Alpha because Apex. Apex was already
True
used.
Apex. This is not it.
And then, which thank God, that was the worst mechanic ever. And then you have Ibushi, I think, and I think those are the required ones. But yeah, so Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. I don't want to belabor on that one too much longer. We've talked a lot about it. Great monster roster. Great stuff. I'm glad it's higher up on your list, Ace. It's just I'm salty with the afflicted monsters. I really am.
It's not for everyone. I mean, I definitely get burnt out just because they're tuned up and that much more difficult and kind of a slog at times to get through. So I understand.
Yeah, I haven't even downloaded the last title update on the Switch. I've just been playing base Rise with my buds. So, Morg.
Oh my god, I just thought of something better for Violet Mizutsune. Sleep bubbles. Oh, and you always find that Mizutsune is always sleeping anyways, and like it just.
So Morg, let's move on to your number 2.
Okay, so my number 2, we're just gonna digress from that.
Reel it in.
Number 2.
Reel it in. Yeah.
This is actually a card game that I got for Christmas, and it's really enjoyable. It is called, and it's made by the guys who do Cyanide and Happiness comics.
Oh,
the game is called Trial by Trolley.
Oh wait,
have you ever heard of this game?
No, I thought you were saying.
I thought that for years now.
I thought you were going to say Joking Hazard.
Oh, Joking Hazard would have been a great one, but I mean, like, I didn't get my hands on it, so I can't say that I played.
Okay.
Trial by Trolley is a really, really fun game that you can play around a table. Where so you have 2 teams and you have a conductor, and the person who's in charge of being the conductor, it changes from turn to turn, so each person gets their chance at it, and based off of like which trolley track, which side you're on, that's the side that team has to protect. And so what'll happen is that there are like a number of like things on the track that the conductor has to either make the decision of who to hit and who not to hit.
Yeah, it's the classic run over one person or 3 people kind of scenario.
Yeah, and you'll have like a number of cards where you'll have a bunch of good things. So like, you'll have like, that person's grandmother, or, their high school crush and they find out that they secretly like them or whatever. Or you could have bad things and you could put the bad things on your opponent's side of the track. Like, the future leader of the next Nazi party, or like a terrorist that's trying to like weaponize smallpox, or that guy who invented the worst flavor of ice cream, or like that one person who's been shit talking about you in high school. And then like on top of that, then you can have all these bonus items like added effects, so modifiers. So you can make it so that person's, their high school crush, they secretly don't like you. Or you can make it so that, like the next leader of the Nazi party, he's secretly a time traveler that's actually gone back and trying to save the world from a worst case scenario by being, the leader of this new party. Like, you can literally throw anything and everything on this track, and it's
Okay.
up to you to try and get it so in that way the conductor doesn't run over your track. And if the conductor does run over your track, you get like a little death token. And so you can either play it to like a number of rounds, or you can play it to like a certain number of death tokens, and then whoever has the fewest wins.
Okay.
Honestly, it's just a really fun game to play around the house. You know, it's a really fun party game. I couldn't recommend anything better. I kind of wish that there was an online version of this because it would be really, really
I'm
fun.
sure that you can find a mod on Tabletop Simulator for it. I'm positive. Tabletop Simulator has
Oh.
just about everything.
Oh, if they have Trials by Trolley, I would love to play that. That would be so
I
fun.
won't boot it up now, but sometime, Morg, if you remind me, I can check for you because I have it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll keep an eye out for it because if it
There
does
is
exist, I'm playing it.
It's not any of the card games, but there is a Cyanide and Happiness video game that's out. And I know it's on
No.
Switch.
Mm.
No way. Okay, now I'm gonna have to look this up when I get the chance to. I'm on my PS4 right now, so
Okay.
we will see.
All right. So, Trial by Trolley, right?
Yep, Trial
Okay.
by Trolley.
All right. Morg's number 2. Sasha, you're number 2.
Mass Effect Legendary series.
The trilogy.
Yeah.
Of
Series.
course.
Yep, I just bundled them all together. I played through 1 and 2 and part of 3 this last year. It was everything I dreamed it would be, a not broken version of Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
Got the nice facelift to the Mass Effect 3 mechanics. Mass Effect 2 felt pretty much the same.
Okay.
Already a perfect game. How
Yeah.
do you beat Mass Effect 2? It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is a perfect game. I agree. Mass Effect 3 feels the same. I lost steam just because Mass Effect 2 is the best of the 3, and Mass Effect 3 is a bit of a downer. So,
Yeah.
It's the one where no matter what you do, everybody dies anyways. It sucks.
I mean,
Worst story ever.
open for interpretation there.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's still a bit of a downer. So, I had shifted gears before I finished that one. I went back to it briefly, but I don't know. I feel like I just I peaked with Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I feel like it's an experience at once and you don't need to. Again.
yeah, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Infiltrator class for the win. Oh
I mean-
yeah. I
Well,
love
it
having
depends
access to
on-
all the
Look, that depends on what difficulty you're playing on. Because when I played through Mass Effect 1, I played through as Infiltrator. I was playing on hardcore, or like this veteran, and then, but if I'm gonna play on Insanity, it's Sentinel class. You
Oh,
have to play
wow.
Sentinel class.
because the
because
heavy
you get-
armor and yeah.
You get tech and biotics. That's
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
And
give it
you
a try
get
in
a
Sentinel.
good gun. So it's Sentinel for Insanity. Trust me on this one.
Okay, I'll give it a shot when I do my next playthrough.
So funny enough, second time tonight, my number 2, Mass Effect trilogy. Two matchups today, both by me. I played Infiltrator through all 3, and I sniped exclusively
Yeah.
through all 3. I used a sniper. This is my first foray into Mass Effect. I tried to play two times before, like we're talking 8 years ago. Once I played 1 and actually had context for what 2 was. 2 was good, not more than.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's
Okay,
a great game.
What I'm trying
You
to
gotta
say.
stop the collectors.
The first time, 2 times I tried Mass Effect 2, I gave no shits about anything or anyone. I had no context. I didn't know what was going on. Like, because I didn't play 1. I had no context, right? Like, so once I gave myself the context of playing through 1, then I was able to, get hooked into 2. And I agree, 2 is the best one. Like, 2 is phenomenal. And 3 is good, but that is a letdown of an ending, even with, because I never saw the original ending. I never saw
the original ending was pick a color, any color.
Yeah. And then I got both times, because like I had to Google, okay, so how do I do it? Because Mass Effect 2, I didn't save everyone the first time I played through. And then I was like, hold on, I'm going back, because people were kind enough to tell me to keep a save before you go on that mission.
And you can't let Mordin die in Mass Effect 2.
He was the one who died, by the way. He was the one. I had one person die, and it was Mordin. And I was like, but then...
you gotta go back and take him with you.
Yeah, no. So, like, I redid it. It took me another 2 or 3 hours for me to go through it again, which wasn't too bad. And then Mass Effect 3, I picked the wrong ending, quote unquote. I then went back and replayed it, which took me another 2 or 3 hours, and then I got the right ending because I googled that one. But I'm not normally into those kind of games, but I do enjoy shooters to a degree. So the gameplay was well enough that I just sniped through the whole thing. It was fine. It was fun. Mass Effect 1, I had a couple broken quests. That was a little not favorable for me in the beginning, and it was a little frustrating, but 2 ended up clearing up a lot of, but the reason why, and I think Sasha and I agree on this, you can't have 1 and 2, like and 3, they separate. They have to be a cohesive unit because they're all telling the same story, essentially.
Yeah.
That's like
the punches in 2 are contingent on 1.
Yes, and it's the same way for something like Star Wars. You can't talk about The Empire Strikes Back without it having ties to both Return of the Jedi and A New Hope. Like it's not a complete story. It is a complete movie, but there are contexts there that you're going to miss not knowing New Hope. Right, and that's kind of what I was trying to do. I was trying to invest in Empire Strikes Back before I knew who Luke Skywalker was. Is essentially what I was doing, or Darth Vader or anyone. I was just like, so Seth Green is a pilot. Like that's about where I knew where I was going with that one to begin with. I very much enjoyed it. I very much. It's crazy because I've always hated. I like that there are romance things in games at times. I think those are cool. We don't do that. You don't do a lot of that in video games. Like doing romance options in video games seems like a normal thing sometimes these days. But like a good love story in a game is few and far between.
Well, BioWare does it best, for sure.
I actually experienced really decent, healthy relationships in Mass Effect far more than anything else. I will say that Fire Emblem has these, right? But I hate how Fire Emblem does it, because it literally does the fairy tale and they lived happily ever after because you just picked a girl at the end. There wasn't any build-up. There wasn't any like... There was a couple times where you're like, maybe I like this girl. Nothing comes of it. Next time the chapter ends, maybe I like this girl. And you could choose a different one and it doesn't matter. And then the game continues. And then you get to the end of the game. Maybe I like this girl. And then that one matters. And then none of the other ones mattered before. And it's like literally just like you get a different ending screen. If they like you enough. Which they most likely do because you probably interacted with them. If you were trying at all. So it was a much better believable arc. I had only seen this once before in Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is the only Dragon Age I've played. Now, I will say I really want a remaster for Dragon Age so I can finish Dragon Age 1 because my Dragon Age 1 on PC is broken and I can't get past.
I think we'll probably get it after 4.
And I don't want to replay Inquisition until a remaster because it's not a can't get hooked thing because it's not as connected as Mass Effect. It is literally, it feels like I'm playing Mario 64 at times. Like I can't like
What?
yeah, the PlayStation version apparently is very bad.
Oh, I was gonna say, I feel like Inquisition holds up.
As far as like the controls.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
maybe I wasn't in the right mindset, but I picked it up and put it down real quick, and that was this year.
That's how I felt with Path of Exile on console. I was like, that is the worst experience I had ever had playing an RPG. I was
Oh,
like, no,
yeah.
never
don't
playing this
really-
on console.
I don't have any complaints about Inquisitions.
I don't know.
Any of it. The dialogue is true to Bioware
Yeah,
formula.
But
The
I didn't get very-
combat is pretty smooth. I thought Inquisition's combat took Origins and 2 and found like a really nice happy medium.
yeah. I mean, I like Origins combat now that I played it on PC, but I can't finish it on PC. So,
Yeah.
So that being said, I'm waiting for remasters or some sort of update for me to be able to finish Origins, and then I'll skip 2 because I played 2, and I don't need to replay 2, and then go to Inquisitions if I can. But that being said, I played the Mass Effect trilogy for the first time this year. I find it amazing. I'm looking forward to Dragon Age 4 because of this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for Dragon Age 4. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah, so
I'm taking time off work for that.
I finally understand the something that my friend Brian's been telling me about years for Mass Effect. Like but the problem is I always like space has always been a barrier for me. I don't normally like sci-fi in space. Like I don't know what it is, but like that is a barrier to me. But this, like, I get the memes now. I love a lot of the characters that are there. Especially, I don't remember his name right now, but he's the policeman. The first one. He wears blue.
Okay. I
Are you
think I
talking about
found a way.
Garrus?
Garrus. There you go. Garrus.
I've never heard anyone refer to him as the policeman.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because of the
Force One,
first one.
I thought of a way for you to be able to enjoy the experience, and you know what? I think I'm gonna actually make this a series. Okay. Now the important question I have to ask you is, Ross or Chandler?
Chandler.
Neither.
I'm very much a
Okay.
Chandler person.
I'm going to play Mass Effect as if it was like the series Friends, and I am going to play as Chandler.
Chandler being
Okay, I can tell you that Renegade Shepherd is not the way to play the game, but it is the most enjoyable way to play the game.
And
Yeah.
we are going to make friends in space, and it's going to be awesome. I'm even going to have an intro for it where it's literally do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So no one told you life was going to be this way.
Okay, so if you're playing as Shepherd as Chandler, then who is your romance option?
You know what? That's
Who's-
actually going
who's
to be a
the
really good
Monica
option.
of the
you would
Ooh.
Monica would be gosh, what's her name? She's the
The one with the tattoos, or are
No,
you thinking
no.
of Miranda?
Miranda.
Miranda in Mass Effect 2.
'Cause
Yeah,
that is
would be the
definitely
Monica.
Courtney. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
okay, yeah.
Definitely
Miranda's
the
Monica.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then
and I'm
what you
gonna
have to
rename
do
them
in
all.
one. So in one, what you need to do is you need to start to romance Maga Barbie, Ashley, and then let
Yep.
her die on Vermine.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yep. Okay, so I know who's going to be my Ross. Yes, this is going to work out really well. Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I may be a
Oh.
I may be a dinosaur nerd like Ross, but I do not have that crippling social anxiety that he does. I'm definitely a Chandler. So number 2 for me and Sasha, the Mass Effect trilogy. So Ace, you're number 2. We didn't hear anything you said.
Your audio working?
That's going to be
Ah.
Stray.
Okay, cool.
Stray. Ooh.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed. Well, I haven't finished it yet, but I've quite enjoyed running around a domed-over city as a cat
Mm-hmm.
and avoiding those weird little grub parasite things.
Yeah. That look like a bloated tick, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard because you were away, but that was my number 5. So
I think we touched on that before
Okay.
I left. Yeah.
okay, cool. All right. Anything else to say about Stray? You just really enjoyed it.
I have enjoyed what I've played of it so far. I
Yeah.
haven't gotten very far because I've branched onto other things, mostly on Switch, just because it's more mobile than
Yeah, with the baby.
a
Yeah. Hard.
console on a TV.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get off of playing Wii U when the kids were born. Like I played a lot of Wii U because of the portability, and then it took me until gosh, I don't even remember what I started playing. Maybe it was Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which was like
Hmm.
almost a year after CC was born before I played something on the console a little more involved. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so Stray, number 2 for Ace. So we are down to our number 1 pick for the year, Morg.
Well, it should be no brainer.
Xenoverse.
It's going to be Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2. And the reason why I'm putting those two together is because on the PlayStation Store, I found a deal for both of the games for $17.
Wow, that is cheap.
Where
Yeah.
I know, and normally for Xenoverse 2, if you were to get the full game by itself, it's like $80 up here. So I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I get 2 games, and for Xenoverse 1, you can transfer your character over from the one game over into the other one with a whole bunch of of its stuff, like a lot of its features, including like its armor, an accessory, and some of your specialized moves that you had to get in the first game the hard way. You can transfer them all over into the new game as a new playable character. So honestly, Xenoverse 1, it's a good classic game. It's nice to come back to it and play it again. But I'm really, really looking forward to being able to pick up Xenoverse 2 and to get through the full story. And I know for a fact that it ends at I think it was the the Goku Black arc.
Okay.
If anybody's ever kept up to speed with like Dragon Ball Super, probably not
Nope.
many people. Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah. So you have to deal with
Hey.
like an evil Goku, whatever, that was body swapped with like an evil Kai. And yeah, literally has like a chokehold on the earth or whatever, and Future Trunks has to try and like use like Goku and Vegeta's help to try and stop him. Yeah, honestly, they're both really, really good games, and there is still, even to this day, is a lot of like competitive play of like 1v1 matches on Xenoverse 2. So I'm really looking forward to finally being able to play Xenoverse 2 and get like a golden Frieza form for my Frieza character.
Hmm.
Although I kind of wish, and I really wish that I could like mod my game so in that way I could get like the modded Frieza transformations. So that way I could start off with like a little Frieza mini or whatever it is, have them transform all through all the different stages, kind of like as Frieza does.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately that's not a feature in this game. Unfortunately, yeah, you just have to get like the specific armors that you slowly, like, gradually get into and you can purchase as you play through the storyline. But all in all, I would say that, yeah, these two games are by far my favorite, especially being able to get into like specific timelines and stuff like that and fix all the corrections. Like in Xenoverse 1, I didn't think that they would mess up the timelines to the point where like when the Saiyans like Nappa and Vegeta come to Earth. Well, in the screwed up timeline, they're both still alive, but they are in their grade 8 forms, and Goku comes there. Everybody's already dead because Vegeta and Nappa have already killed everybody, and he stands no chance against them. So you have to go back and you have to fix everything for them. There's another timeline where like Raditz managed to break free of like Goku's hold of him, and then the special beam cannon that Piccolo fires at Goku kills Goku. Raditz finishes off Piccolo and Gohan. Like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of like really awesome stuff in these games, like really neat twists and turns.
So
that
you're
took liberties for.
You're fixing the timeline to be like the show. Gotcha.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
You have to fix the main timeline to correct everything, so that way everything is streamlined and the way it should be. And in the game, yeah, there's so many fuck ups that go on in it, and it's just it's so good. And with Xenoverse 2, they've included guys from like the non-canon Dragon Ball movies. They've included stuff from GT, Super as far as like Zamasu, but they also have like DLC content that includes stuff up to like the point of Terminator Power, which is like the latest that we have seen of like the anime series.
Okay.
Really, really looking forward to the new anime that's coming out. Hopefully it has Moro, the Planet Eater. Ooh, it's going to be exciting. Or even the Granola arc. Looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm a big Dragon Ball nerd right now.
That's
I'm geeking out
okay.
really bad.
Well, glad you're enjoying it. Yeah,
I'm loving it.
got a good deal too. So, Dragon Blade Xenoverse, Morg's number 1. Sasha, you're number 1.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect. I knew that you'd played this, but I didn't expect this because you kind of just stepped away from it at the end game. But
Oh, I'm back on it again.
okay,
I-
okay.
Look, okay.
That is such a stark contrast from my choice.
So it is the game I played. I put the most hours in. My like true achievements Xbox summary for the year says I put about 140 hours into Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
It's pretty good. Pretty good considering your schedule. Yeah.
Yeah. So I revisited it. I've been playing the DLC, which is basically just quest chaos chambers. I have a love-hate with the chaos chambers because, like I had told you, the reason I stopped playing is I discovered that they're not random. That, it's the same thing. It's the same generated stuff, all the same, like, loot, curse choices, everything is the same for chaos level 15 to 20.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing the DLC instead. I had to bump my chaos levels down because the DLC is considerably harder than the game itself. So I bumped down to like chaos level 5, play the DLCs. And I mean, they're fine, I guess. I don't think they're anything to write home about, and I'm glad I waited for the season pass to be
Cheap.
discounted like 60%.
Yeah.
To
Nice.
get it. Yep. But I think that Tiny Tina's is a love letter to RPGs. Like I whole game is
RPGs,
just-
D&D,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
it's just
There's some Don Quixote in there that I really enjoyed at first, but then they did him dirty, and I was like, no.
I mean, I think just even more than even RPGs, fantasy. Like the whole thing with Guybrush Threepwood and his, like, I just was constantly laughing. I loved it. The dialogue was snappy. All the little Easter eggs were so cute to find. I enjoyed listening to the Bickering Bucks episode, even though I was like, man, I feel like I know more about this game than they do. They put way more time into it.
Yeah.
I got that Ragnarok sword, and I would not have even given it a second thought had I not listened to the Bickering Bucks episode and listened to Chauncey talking about how good it was. And
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I got it. I got the sword, and I'm still using that sword.
Yeah, the one that breaks
Yep.
barriers because you can shoot through walls and it's a melee attack, so it activates switches.
Yes, and it also is how I got a few of the loot dice that were like
Locked.
gonna be platforming nightmares.
Oh, fair. Yeah, because that's how he did him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like platformers, so
Yeah.
yep. So I don't know. I felt like it deserved the number one spot. I put the time in. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm not done playing it. I
Okay.
will get Chaos level 20, and I will do it myself. I've got to put some more time in. That's all.
Okay. Alrighty. Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Yeah, I mean, like, I did not give that game a high score, but it wasn't a question of the quality of the game. It was a question of the quality of the company I was keeping playing the game. And I think I've said that several times. Like,
Yep.
as much as very much, because like those same two people who we had over for New Year's, and I had a blast playing board games with them, but we are not doing that kind of game with them. Like, that is just not.
I'm at the point now where it's just grinding, so it's a perfect game for put on Spotify,
Yeah.
play.
Oh gosh, don't talk to me about Spotify. I am like 4 weeks behind on podcasts now. I was up to date for years, never missing an episode, and now I have not listened to anything. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not missing anything, honestly, lately, because I've just been, and well, big part of it is I've been talking to my old high school buddies while I play a game now. Like, it's just, I guess I'd rather do that than listen to other people be friends with each other. That being said, listening to a podcast right now, listeners, I'm sorry. Please keep listening. But yeah, I've just been busy playing other stuff. So Tiny Tina's Wonderland, number one for Sasha. So my big number one, I don't know if you guys are going to know this one or not, because I talked about it a lot early on, but not too much lately, and that's Triangle Strategy. And
I figured this was going to be on the list.
Yeah, it has to be. It had to, like, it's been sitting. It's the one that hasn't moved. The moment I finished it, I would say, done the golden path, and finished the game. I wrote it down this year as number one. It has not budged. There has never been. Let me think about this. I don't know, at least off the top of my head. I have not played a game this long. We're talking 80 plus hours. I finished the campaign and said, wow, and immediately loaded up a new save and did it again. Like, I have never done that. I am very much like, I need to move on. I've got other games to play, other things to do. This one was like, no. I love this game, but I need a better ending and I need to do it again. Because, like, so what I ended up doing is I played my first playthrough on hard mode, I think. And then I did the second playthrough all the way down to easy mode, so I could just get through the stuff quicker and see the story and focus on that more than doing difficult fights, which I had already done. This is a strategy RPG, so we're talking, it's another one of my favorite genre that I don't play a lot, but we're talking Final Fantasy Tactics style of battling. The characterizations of everyone in this game are awesome. You are basically following a house, and we're talking like a ruling house, like in Game of Thrones. You do have a main character, and he is heir to the house. He is not the lead. His father is currently the lead, but he is more or less waning in age. He gets sick a couple times, or is sick. And you are betrothed to a Rosarian, which the Rosarians are a race of people who are all redheads and are shunned by the rest of the people in the world for this religious group saying that they basically caused all the problems of the world, essentially. And so all of the Rosarians live in penance of their sins, except for this one separatist group that escaped. And this one royal girl is betrothed to you. It is not like I talked about a love story in Mass Effect. This is there are choices on how you interact with her and every other essentially member of the house that aren't necessarily dialogue options, as in more choices what you do with the campaign that affect the people. Like choices that like, hey, let's go do this, let's go do this. They are essentially dialogue options, but what you're trying to do is, when it comes to a big decision that you have to do, you either quickly make it, or there's these even bigger decisions that he requires everyone's input, and you say, okay, this doesn't just affect me, this affects the whole house and everyone involved. So we're going to take a vote, and you can influence people's votes before the vote by talking to them. And if you know the right information, if you found the right clues, you can sway them to your cause. Now, there are certain issues which people will not sway. And what you're trying to do is sway the other people so that there are more towards your vote. And some of these are very crucial. And when I say the golden path, there is a specific set of scenario which you can go through to basically get the best ending that you can get. Which there's a point in the game which 3 people have a different idea. So you have 3 paths before you. And all of these paths are like end game paths. Like, things are going to change. There are bonds broken. There are, friendships made in stone from this. Like, this is important. And if you don't have the golden path, you actually will lose 2 people from your party forever. You are doing something drastic on all 3 paths. The golden path said, there's a 4th option, and we're going to do everything, and everyone's with you. Now, what I didn't expect is when I got to this point, I had a couple people, not a couple, I had more than a whole team, but you can only have so many people on your team at one time. And every unit, as far as a tactical RPG, every unit, you get unit types. You got your archers, you got your knights, you got all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Every unit is unique. Now, they may have some moves that are shared between the two, but they all have their own abilities, their own weapons, and that kind of stuff. You have 3 different archers in the game. One of them's a crossbowman. One of them's a longsbowman, and the other one is a sort of like a roguish assassin guy with a short bow. And they all do different things, different ranges, but they're all archers. You have 3 different spellcasters. You have one who does all spells. You have one that focuses on fire. You have one that focuses on like trickery magic and that kind of stuff. Like there's a wide variation of characters to unlock. You can actually unlock some of your greatest enemies and sway them to your side eventually. There's a character that only unlocks on the golden path who ends up being a very big thorn in your side up until that point. You can unlock, you get virtues by picking different decisions. So like you have liberty, you have some other, liberty is the one virtue I remember, but there's 2 other ones. If you get a certain amount of virtue, you actually unlock people through that because they'll be attracted to those virtues. And it's a really cool, just great story. And when I talked a little bit about a love story, your betrothed, the Rosalian, I don't remember her name right now, but she is like your love interest in the game. And it's your choice to, treat her that way or treat her as an arranged marriage and not think anything of it. Like, it's very interesting how you can interact with her and how that story can grow or not grow. based on what you do. So yeah, it's a very great story. It's a very great game, and I have never, again, don't know of a game that I have finished that is that long of an RPG and said do it again because I want to see the golden path. Like, and it wasn't a short endeavor. I think I added another 20 hours to my playtime doing that. Like, I just a whole nother 20 hours of like skip all the cutscenes. I know everything that already happens, but I had to make some decisions that I wouldn't have thought are part of the golden path, like sacrificing some things and doing some things. Really great game. And if you like strategy RPGs, I highly suggest playing this game. It definitely, I feel they really took a lot of notes from stuff like Game of Thrones in recent years, of like the sort of how inter-house warfare and that kind of stuff
I was
too.
gonna say, looking at the art, it looks a lot like the illustrations in the illustrated hardcover Game of Thrones books and in the Fire Blood.
Yeah, the art style is actually
The character art does.
Yeah. The art style is actually really cool too. It's that new where they've done the HD lighting and rendering to 2D sprites that Octopath Traveler started. It's the same people too. And of course, I'm looking forward to Octopath Traveler 2 in February. And I have not replayed 1, and I said I would. Don't think I am. But, yeah, Octopath Traveler, I was in love with it since the moment I finished it, and I don't think anything was going to supplant it. Like, it's just so good. Like, it was amazing. It was jaw-dropping, and I was very disappointed to see it not up for many game awards, because I don't think a lot of people played this game, and it should have been played by more people, in my opinion. I understand something like that is not a normal sell for Sasha. You don't normally do tactical RPGs. Ace, I could see you getting into it, but I know that J-Con, that we've had on here a couple times, he's played it, and he's been enjoying it. He's been taking a slower play. Morg, I think, is something you would enjoy if you get the time and budget.
Yeah, Octopath is definitely one of those games. I kind of like the concept of it. Like, it kind of almost has like this sort of like 2.5, 3, 2.5D sort of element to the way that it presents itself, and I'm very much a fan of the art style of it.
Yeah, and this one, Triangle Strategy, is very much in that same vein, and they just put it in a tactical RPG. And I love Final Fantasy Tactics, so it worked out really well. So that's it. That's my number 1. So Ace, what's your number 1 for the year?
My number 1, I brought a visual for.
Cult of the Lamb. I started it. I haven't.
Cult of the Lamb, I have had so much fun with.
Mm-hmm.
It is endlessly fun to play as a little lamb, running around, killing other cultists.
Yeah.
Other hooded cultists and creatures, and then recruiting innocent little animals into your cult to grow your following. I also would like to show off my new little
Oh yeah, your Gengar
controllers that I got the other day. I decided to treat myself. They're the same company, Hori, that made the other split pad that I had. But I like these a lot. I think even more than those, because these are more like ergonomically shaped.
Yeah, they're robust looking. Huh.
But yeah, Cult of the Lamb has been a lot of fun. I still have not beaten the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit difficult at the moment.
Sure.
But I've gotten close a couple of times, so I'm right there. I just need to work on getting the patterns down and preserving my health and being a little bit more patient, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt about God of War sometimes. Is like, yep, I died because I was impatient there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Cult of the Lamb. I started this. I haven't played a lot of it yet, but it was fun. I've done like the first 2 outings, so I've got like 3 or 4 followers.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm up to like 20 something
Mm-hmm.
because you need 20 to open the gate to go to the final boss.
Oh, okay.
And like once you get to a certain point, money is just not an issue.
Sure.
So that'll be nice too, because then you can just start. Because there's a spider NPC who catches innocent animals in a web, and then you can either buy them for like 50 coins, or he says he'll eat them. So,
Wow.
and then there's also farming mechanics in the game too. You can grow seeds for flowers for medicine, pumpkins, radishes, I think, or beets. Radishes or beets, berries, and then
Yeah, I know about
you
the
can
berries.
also, yeah, and then when they eat certain foods, they are more or less likely to poop instantly, and then you can use the poop as fertilizer. And oddly enough, you can make a meal out of poop. And
Oh.
there are certain times your followers will request it as a quest for you to make them a bowl of poop for them to eat. I mean, I guess that kind of tracks with them being animals.
That's weird. Okay. Interesting.
There's also like I forget exactly what it's called, but there's a meal that you can make that has like a 50-50 chance or maybe more of just instantly killing them.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's like the faith meter, where like if you perform certain rituals in your church, it can increase or decrease it. You can also increase or decrease faith by completing or failing to complete those quests that the villagers give you.
Yeah.
There's also different fleeces that you can buy for the lamb that act as modifiers for the game. And then obviously there's like upgrades that you get as you go along too. So it's all just sort of a interesting, cute little involved dungeon crawler, because you go from room to room to room.
Yeah.
And then each run there's like 1 or 2, well, maybe more, but there's rooms where you can pull tarot cards, and tarot cards act as modifiers for your runs.
Yeah.
So like you can get things like better damage, faster movement speed, faster striking speed. You can get extra hearts. You can get extra resources, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty involved, and I've enjoyed it a lot.
Okay. So Cult of the Lamb, number 1. I was up for a couple indie game awards, I know, but Stray took them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I am okay with.
Yeah, I am too. But Cult of the Lamb is fun. It's partially the other indie game that I've wanted to try is the Vampire Hunter, the bullet hell that came out, and it was nominated for a lot of things, and I don't know. I just wanted to try it.
Right.
Okay, so Cult of the Lamb, and that's our games of 2022, people. It was a longer episode. Sorry if you're made it to the end. Thank you. So next week, I don't know what we're gonna do quite yet. We did talk about possibly talking about movies of 2022, or we'll find something else to do. But
or just movies in general. I'm always down to talk about movies.
Yeah, take a little break, talk about movies. I mean, I need to talk about Violent Night with someone, because I was the only one that watched it.
I
myself.
still need to watch that. I was gonna say we could just talk about top 5 horror movies, or just talk about 5 horror movies.
You'll get Violent Night, and that's not even a horror. It's like an action.
Well, I
there's-
mean, it's not a bad Christmas movie. I mean, like, then again, so is First Blood. If anybody likes Rambo, it's definitely a Christmas movie.
Okay.
It's Christmas
no,
trees.
Hold on.
Die Hard.
Die
Okay.
Hard's definitely a Christmas movie. Takes place in Christmas.
Yeah, I'm on the fence on the Die Hard thing, but Rambo's too far. Rambo's just.
I
too-
don't know, man. I mean, like, there are Christmas trees everywhere. Like, there's like
feel-
snow.
I feel like a Christmas movie has to involve Christmas in its theme, and I think
I don't know.
I-
I mean, like, if,
By
if,
that
if
logic, then I think we could include Rocky 4 as a Christmas movie,
oh damn, yeah, we gotta include that one as well.
just because he runs up a snow-covered mountain and then
that's-
doesn't he cut down
okay,
a tree?
hold on, guys. Snow isn't a Christmas theme. Snow is a Christmas setting.
I was using Morg's logic. I wasn't
Okay.
necessarily
Okay.
agreeing with him.
What about Joseph, King of Dreams? I mean, it's basically a biblical story. I mean, you know, we could totally make that a Christmas movie.
Okay. So we'll talk about movies. We'll figure out what exactly. I can't talk about horror movies that much because I don't watch that many. Like,
I can give you some recommendations.
I mean, I saw Antlers this year,
Yeah, that's a horror
Ooh.
movie.
and
That's a
then
pretty good one.
what else did I watch?
You
I
should,
watched something else Sasha
should-
told me to watch, and I didn't.
Josh Barbarian.
No,
Oh, yes.
That's the one you gotta watch. That's like my
that sounds
one of my favorites.
that
from
one
last
sounds
year.
stressful. I just
No, it's
Oh,
not.
how bad could it be?
It's a treat.
I
It's a treat.
saw
You should watch it.
I saw Antlers and I saw something else. Oh, Underwater.
Also an excellent choice.
I saw that.
That
one.
sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't. I was not scared by underwater, but I don't have that water phobia that some people do.
The thalassophobia. Yes, I
Yeah.
have it. I'm not watching that movie. Nuh-uh.
It's okay.
Should play Subnautica then.
No.
I play Subnautica because I like to challenge myself. But I have control, you see. It's a video game. I can choose to dip my toes in the water and get eaten by a leviathan. But when I'm watching a movie, I don't have any control whatsoever. That's why I don't like those kinds of horror
Well,
movies.
We'll figure something out. 'Cause I don't think I can just talk about horror movies, honestly. Now, I will say
Just get a Shudder subscription.
I have one. I've had one for like a year and a half, and I don't use it.
Okay, I can recommend you some stuff. I
Now,
can give you some
I-
homework for next week.
I have it because of Blood Quantum. Like, Blood Quantum's the one that I've seen that I love. But
The Descent 2.
um,
Good starting off point.
yeah.
They're
Yeah,
all
those
right.
aren't bad ones.
Okay, stop with the whole horror movie thing for now. I'm not sure we're
No.
going to go there.
Horror movies are so fun. Aside from being
More.
anxiety attacks, they are so much fun. The
Okay,
Conjuring, The Conjuring 2. You can skip the third Conjuring.
No, the Christian Avengers aren't that good.
That's why I said to skip the third one. The third one was kind of like, oh, okay, really?
I don't even think I finished the third one. I fell asleep trying to watch it twice. And I was like, it's just not gonna happen.
I watched
yeah,
it.
I was
kinda
going to say
disappointed
falling
that,
asleep watching a movie isn't a good indicator of anything because I don't. I like hardcore Henry, but I fell asleep during the first time because I was just overworked and didn't have time. But twice is a hard sell.
Yeah,
Hereditary, Midsummer.
Hereditary, yes. But okay, if you want like a funny B movie on an A-list budget, Malignant.
Got
Malignant is
I mean-
insanity.
It's so funny because it's so bad.
Then there's also I did see Willy's Wonderland, but again,
Yeah.
Willy's Wonderland isn't necessarily that. I mean, it's a horror
Jason.
movie, but
It's
it's
horror
horror
adjacent.
comedy. Like it is played as horror comedy, and
That's
that's
the Five Nights
Horror
at
comedy
Freddy's
is fine,
movie,
too.
basically.
yes.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil is great. That's another one you could talk about.
I mean, this is literally my favorite movie, and that's who I went as Halloween. So, yes, but I didn't. It's not something that was new to me this year. That's been a part of my life since I've seen it in like
Well, I said
2013.
we could talk about stuff that we've seen this year. Or we could just talk about movies in general, horror movies in general.
Why do we have to go?
I
There are
I
so
like
many
horror.
more movies than just horror movies for me. Like, I'm gonna pull up my Vudu now and be like, no, I watched this, and this that are not. Well, that's for next week. But I'm gonna look now anyways. Anyways, so thank you guys all for listening and watching. We will catch you next week with something with movies. We don't know yet, and I'm not committing to the horror movie thing yet. Don't. Ace.
Something might happen. You never know.
I know I'm the odd one out on here with the horror movies. I know all three of you guys love them, but I mean, I did talk about Lyle Loud Crocodile. That's a great movie. You can show that to your kids. All right.
You could
My
even
kid
watch.
loves Freddy Krueger. Okay, so I think we're well past Lyle Lyle Crocodile.
But it's good.
Whoa.
All right. Thanks everyone. Be sure to follow us at HunterSubPod on Twitter and here on Twitch, and look out for the next episodes and stuff through the Twitter, and then also join our Discord. If you want to follow Ace, it's at Ace Badger Gaming, and we'll see you next week with some movie discussion. Hopefully not horror movies, but we'll see. So later.
Hopefully.
To quote
Bye.
Colin
Take
Mockery,
care.